Chapter 733. You dare to resist? This will be your fate. A venerable with a long saber blocked the escape route and looked at Wang Shi and the others with a grim smile. Go quickly. I'll stop him. A middle-aged warrior shouted and rushed out quickly. Humph, you're courting death. He waved his long saber and beheaded the middle-aged warrior. Uncle Wang! Wang Shi's eyes instantly turned red, and he let out a shocking roar. Ah, I'm going to kill you. Wang Shi's heart was burning with anger. He rushed up quickly. Ha ha, little brat, watch how I kill you. The venerable grinned. No, go quickly. The elders of the Wang family shouted. Wang Shi was an outstanding disciple of their family and the hope of the family's future. However, this hope was about to be killed here. The Wang family was desperate. They were furious, but they did not have the power to change anything. They could only watch the tragedy unfold. However, the next moment, before the long saber fell, a golden arrow pierced through the venerable's head and nailed his body to the ground. A golden arrow fell from the sky like a golden thunder. It instantly pierced through the head of the venerable and nailed him to the ground. This turn of events shocked everyone in the prince's mansion. The two sides who were fighting stopped and retreated. The Wang family was puzzled, while the Blood Yuan gang was gloomy. The ordinary gang members were even more shocked as they looked around cautiously. Who dares to kill the elder of the Blood Yuan gang? Come out! Tu Tian roared. His body trembled with murderous intent and covered 100 miles. Buzz. The void fluctuated, and a young figure stepped out. This young man was about 18 or 19 years old. He was dressed in blue, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. He was like a god of war. He held a golden bow in his hand that emitted light. Benefactor. It's Benefactor. Wang Shi was excited. When he saw the figure in the sky, he had the urge to cry, Benefactor. The Wang family was shocked. Then a ray of hope rose in their hearts. Was this young man here to help them? The members of the Blood Yuan gang, on the other hand, were all glaring at Lin Xian with murderous intent. Kid, who are you? That's right. The blue-clothed youth in the sky was Lin Xian. After he arrived at the Lion Moon City, he went straight to the Blood Yuan gang's lair, but he did not find the primeval chaos hand Tu Tian. After asking around, he found out that the other party was going to attack the Wang family today. That was why he hurried over. However, he did not expect to meet the young man he had seen in the forest in the Wang family. Seeing that his opponent was in danger, Lin Xian immediately fired an arrow, saving his opponent's life. Looking around, Lin Xian coldly shouted, Which one of you is the heaven-slaughtering hand? I am. Tu Tian stood out and shouted sternly, Brat, what business do you have with me? Take your head. Lin Xian's gaze was as sharp as a sword as he stared at the burly man in front of him. Ha ha! Tu Tian threw his head back and laughed, his voice shaking the heavens. The elders and members of the Blood Yuan gang also sneered in disdain. Although Lin Xian was very strong and killed an elder with one arrow, it was impossible for him to kill their leader, not to mention a brat. Even a second-level venerable would not be able to kill him, unless it was an even more powerful third-level venerable. However, that kind of expert would not appear in the Lion Moon City. Want to kill me? Tu Tian sneered in disdain. Brat, do you know who you were talking to? Do you believe that I will give the order to chop you into minced meat? Boss, let me kill him. He killed old Dao. I want to kill him to avenge old Dao. A skinny man walked out, holding a blood-red spear in his hand and emitting an astonishing, murderous aura. Well, let him know the consequences of provoking the Blood Yuan gang. Tu Tian said coldly, Brat, I want to use your blood as a sacrifice to old Dao. The skinny middle-aged man's body erupted with a powerful spiritual power, and then he swung his spear and stabbed out quickly, Heaven and Earth spear. The spear flashed and condensed into a quaint cauldron, which pressed down on Lin Xian. The wind whistled, and the air cracked. The heaven and earth cauldron formed by the spear was like a demonic mountain with a terrifying momentum. In an instant, it fell mercilessly on Lin Xian. "Benefactor, be careful," Wang Shi exclaimed. The Wang family members were also trembling, and they were extremely nervous. The people of the Blood Yuan gang sneered. In their opinion, Lin Xian would not be able to block the spear. Lin Xian looked at the heaven and earth cauldron and snorted. His right hand formed a seal, and the vermilion bird seal was quickly waved out. A vermilion bird, hundreds of feet tall, was born from the fire, and like a divine bird, it flew into the sky. In an instant, the heaven and earth cauldron was blasted away. Then Lin Xian held the golden bow in his hand, and a golden arrow appeared between his fingers. As his palm fell, the golden arrow flew out, carrying countless wind and thunder, like a golden dragon roaring in the void. Puff! The golden arrow instantly pierced the skinny middle-aged man, and then with a bang, it formed a terrifying sea of lightning and wrapped him up. "Sixth brother!" the elders of the Blood Yuan gang exclaimed, and quickly rushed forward. Everyone attacked together, and the terrifying energy split the violent sea of lightning. Then they saw a charred corpse falling rapidly from the sky. The body was charred black, without a trace of vitality. Everyone was shocked, and their faces were full of horror. To be able to kill 2 elders with a single arrow, wasn't this strength a little too terrifying? The Wang family members were stunned. They did not expect the young man in the sky to be so powerful that he could kill the powerful enemies in their eyes with just a raise of his hand. "Kid, you killed 2 of my generals. I will definitely kill you." Tu Tian was completely angry. The elders behind him were the elite forces of the Blood Yuan gang, and one less would be a great loss. But now Lin Xian killed 2 of his generals with just a raise of his hand. How could he not be angry? With a roar, Tu Tian slapped out his palm, and the terrifying palm shadow was thousands of meters wide, like a giant hand that covered the sky, clawing at Lin Xian. Lin Xian waved his arm and shot out golden arrows to fight against the terrifying palm. At the same time, he quickly retreated and fled into the distance. That palm was too terrifying. Dozens of golden arrows bombarded it, but they did not pierce it. From this point, it could be seen that Tu Tian's strength was definitely far beyond everyone. "Want to leave? It's not that simple," Tu Tian shouted angrily. "Stay here, and don't let anyone from the Wang family go. I'll go and kill that kid." As soon as his voice fell, his figure had already disappeared. Like a flash of lightning, he quickly chased after Lin Xian. Seeing that Tu Tian was chasing after him, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. His purpose was to lure Tu Tian out of the city and into the 10-direction remnant light formation that was already set up. Both of them were very fast, and it did not take long for them to arrive outside the city. Seeing that Lin Xian was only running and not fighting back, Tu Tian was suspicious. He suddenly stopped and looked around cautiously. The reason why he could live freely was not only because of his powerful and cruel means, but also because of his cautious character, which allowed him to avoid danger this time. So, when he saw Lin Xian's abnormal reaction, his first thought was that there was an ambush. Chapter 734. However, he did not find any powerful aura within a 1,000-mile radius. Could it be an expert? Tu Tian was puzzled, but he quickly denied it. If it was really a super expert, there was no need for an ambush. He could just enter the city and kill him. He did not care about other people's ambushes. "Kid, no matter what tricks you play, you can't escape death today." Tu Tian shouted angrily and chased after him again. This time, he was even faster. It seemed like he wanted to get rid of Lin Xian as soon as possible. However, Lin Xian had an earth tier movement technique, and his speed was extremely fast among the supremacies. Therefore, Tu Tian could not catch up and could only follow behind him. This kid actually has such a movement technique. Looks like I can't kill him later. I'll torture him for his movement technique first. Tu Tian's eyes were filled with greed. In the next moment, he was surprised because Lin Xian had stopped in front of him. Humph, kid, what tricks are you trying to play now? Tu Tian's mind was filled with Lin Xian's movement technique, so he did not care at all. Moreover, he had checked these places in advance, and there were no traces of any experts. This is the tomb that I chose for you. What do you think? Lin Xian said with a smile. What, a tomb? Tu Tian laughed hysterically. Kid, I don't know where you get your confidence from, but I'll let you know the cruel truth soon enough. Kill, he shouted angrily, and his body turned into an afterimage. He instantly appeared in front of Lin Xian and waved his palms. Terrifying palm shadows merged into one. The palm energy was extremely terrifying. Even a second-level supremacy would find it difficult to withstand it. Lin Xian was the first to bear the brunt. He instantly felt the terrifying aura, and the aura in his body surged. How terrifying! He's definitely a powerful existence among second-level supremacies. Lin Xian executed the illusory demonic steps to the extreme and dodged quickly. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to the Crimson Dragon, asking him to activate the formation. In the next moment, the surrounding scene changed. Countless golden sword auras appeared and swept across the land, emitting a terrifying, murderous aura. Tu Tian frowned. Those golden sword auras made him feel a sense of danger. Formation! He sucked in a breath of cold air. He didn't expect Lin Xian to know about array formations. We have to end this quickly. Tu Tian was not willing to take the risk. Furthermore, this array formation was indeed terrifying. Therefore, he immediately unleashed his full strength. There was a pair of purple gold gloves on his palms. Light flowed around them, and they emitted a terrifying aura. A top-grade spirit-ranked artifact. With this artifact, Tu Tian's palm, wind, and fist aura became even more ferocious, causing the void to explode. However, the Crimson Dragon's 10-direction remnant light sword was also unusual. The golden sword chi was extremely sharp and could cut through mountains. Moreover, Lin Xian also quickly used the great dragon sword soul. His whole body was like a divine sword that had been unsheathed. He was extremely powerful. A great battle was about to break out. Terrifying energy spread out in all directions, shattering all the surrounding mountains. Puff! Lin Xian held the blood-red slaughter sword and slashed out, creating a blood-red river that stretched for 1,000 meters. As it descended, a terrifying gash appeared in the ground. A 10-meter-wide gash appeared, and one could not see the end of it. Tu Tian quickly dodged, and then struck out with his palm. Terrifying energy condensed into a 100-meter-tall palm shadow that covered the sky. Everywhere it passed, everything was flattened. Die, kid. Tu Tian was furious. He had lost face for not being able to deal with a kid after such a long time. He was like a ferocious beast, crashing through the void. Blood-slaughtering demonic palm. The purple-colored palm blasted out. Divine light bloomed, and purple gas spread out for 3,000 miles as if it came from the demonic realm. Sword of Solitude. Lin Xian held the Sword of Nirvana and used the Sword of Autumn from the Four Seasons sword technique. The pitch-black sword chi was extremely oppressive. It carried an indescribable sense of oppression, as if it could take away all life. The two collided and were in a stalemate. At this moment, the 10-direction remnant light formation erupted. Countless golden sword chi surged out. The terrifying energy was extremely powerful and quickly slashed towards Tu Tian. Humph! Tu Tian snorted and quickly retreated. He only had one top-grade spirit-ranked artifact on him, and that was the gloves on his hands. Therefore, his attack was much stronger than martial artists of the same level, but he did not have much of an advantage in defense. Facing the terrifying golden sword Qi, he could only retreat. You can't defend? Seeing Tu Tian retreat, Lin Xian seemed to have realized something as a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then he used the red lotus armor. A set of bright red armor covered his entire body, making him look like a god of war. He let out a long roar and rushed forward with the demonic sword in hand. Get lost! Seeing Lin Xian coming, Tu Tian was furious. In such a critical moment, he would not let the enemy get close to him. The void trembled as the spiritual energy around him condensed into a blood-red river that surrounded him. At the same time, he condensed a spiritual energy armor that covered his entire body. However, this was not a problem for Lin Xian. His great dragon sword soul was an offensive saint technique. At this moment, it was fully activated by Lin Xian, and it was extremely violent. The sword Qi was resplendent and turned into the shape of a dragon. It was vivid and majestic. The dragon claw grabbed and immediately tore the blood-red river apart. Then Lin Xian appeared in front of Tu Tian in a flash. The demonic sword stabbed out and attacked quickly. That terrifying power made Tu Tian's face turn ugly. You're courting death. After all, he was a second-level honorable and was powerful. Moreover, he had a spiritual supreme-grade artifact, so his attack was powerful. The palm strike landed on Lin Xian's chest, causing cracks to appear on his red lotus armor. Lin Xian was hit hard. His body trembled, as if it was about to split open. He almost fainted. However, his long sword also slashed at Tu Tian's body. In an instant, the armor was torn apart, and a terrifying sword mark was left on Tu Tian's body. Moreover, under the control of the Crimson Dragon, the 10 Remnant Light sword also erupted with powerful power. In the sky, countless golden sword Qi surged and merged into a huge golden sword that quickly slashed down. Boom! Tu Tian was hit and flew out. Winter Sword, God-slaying sword. Lin Xian gritted his teeth and attacked again. A dragon-shaped long sword appeared in front of him. It was the materialization of the great dragon sword soul. With a flash of sword light, the entire space was sliced into 2 halves, creating a dislocation. Tu Tian's body stiffened, and an incredulous expression appeared on his face. How can you... He uttered a few words with difficulty. Then a bloody mark appeared in between his eyebrows, and his body collapsed. The powerful mixed yuan hand Tu Tian was killed in a single strike. Until his death, he could not believe that a brat could kill him. Moreover, he still had a lot of trump cards, but they were all useless at this moment. Lin Xian used the art of longevity to heal his injuries. Then he stepped forward and cut off Tu Tian's head with his sword. This battle seemed to be short, but it was extremely thrilling. If he was not careful, he would have lost his life. Fortunately, he had the help of the 10 Remnant Light sword. Otherwise, he would not have been able to kill Tu Tian in such a short time. Then he looked at the headless corpse. Chapter 735. Although Tu Tian was dead, he still had a lot of good stuff on him. For example, the storage ring, especially the pair of gloves, which were top-grade spiritual artifacts. It was this artifact that allowed Tu Tian to be so powerful and arrogant. After keeping the storage ring and the top-grade spiritual artifacts, Lin Xian left with Tu Tian's body. Lion Moon City, Wang family. At this time, the Wang family was in a chaotic battle. All kinds of lights shot into the sky, blood splattered, angry shouts, and screams were all over the place. Although Tu Tian was not here, The Blood Yuan gang was still very fierce because they had the confidence. The Wang family fought desperately. They had a glimmer of hope in their hearts because Tu Tian was lured away. Tu Tian is not here. They have a chance to fight. Attack with full force. We must rush out before Tu Tian returns. The Wang family head shouted. He, you have no chance. The elders of the Blood Yuan gang sneered. And at the same time, they did not forget to attack. Suddenly, a few more Wang family disciples fell to the ground. Go, go. The Wang family elders' eyes were red. Ha ha. Kill, leave no one alive. The Blood Yuan gang sneered. However, at this time, a black shadow suddenly fell from the sky like a small mountain and cracked the ground. Bang! A dull sound was heard, and the whole ground trembled slightly. Everyone was stunned again and stopped attacking. This is? Many people looked at the deep pit on the ground and were shocked, speechless, to Tian. Everyone in the Wang family trembled. They were too shocked that someone could kill Tu Tian, and in such a short time. This was simply impossible, but now it appeared in front of them. Gang leader, how is this possible? The Blood Yuan gang members screamed in horror. Although the corpse on the ground did not have a head, the figure and clothes were exactly the same as their gang leader. They had followed their gang leader for so many years, and even if he turned into ashes, they would still recognize him. However, they could not accept this, especially the elders of the Blood Yuan gang, who were shocked. They knew Tu Tian's strength. Even if a martial artist of the same level came, they could not take him down. It could be said that in the entire Lion Moon City, Tu Tian was invincible. Yet now, he was actually killed by someone. Furthermore, his head had been cut off. This was too shocking. The ordinary disciples of the Blood Yuan gang were trembling in fear. Many of them were paralyzed on the ground like wooden chickens. No, it's not the leader. An elder of the Blood Yuan gang raised his head and shouted angrily, "Who is it? Come out!" Trying to deceive us with a corpse? It's useless. That's right. Our gang leader's battle prowess is unparalleled. How could he have died? This must be fake. Several elders shouted angrily. They couldn't admit it. Otherwise, the entire Blood Yuan gang would be defeated. Fake? Humph. Don't deceive yourself. Lin Xian's figure appeared. You still don't know if it's Tu Tian's corpse? If you don't believe me, take a look at this. He flipped his palm, and a bloody head appeared floating in the void. That was Tu Tian's head. His eyes were wide open, filled with terror and disbelief. Gang leader. Countless members of the Blood Yuan gang saw this scene and suddenly screamed. Those elders also trembled, and fear appeared in their eyes. They knew that the gang leader was really dead, and there was no way to hide this news. But who killed the gang leader? Could it be this kid in front of them? Everyone couldn't believe it. Don't be impulsive. There may be experts secretly following him. It seems that this operation to kill the Wang family is impossible. Let's retreat. Several elders discussed. Kid, how dare you kill our gang leader? The Blood Yuan gang will not let you go. Just you wait. Sooner or later, you'll die. Threatening me? Lin Xian snorted. Then he clenched his fist, and the spiritual energy in the sky gathered, condensing into a 100-meter-long light sword. The light sword slashed down, and it was extremely sharp. Suddenly, the two elders who threatened him were cut into blood mist. What? Everyone was stunned. This was too powerful. He could kill a venerable with just a raise of his hand. Who is he? He's so powerful. Everyone in the Wang family was excited. The members of the Blood Yuan gang were terrified, as if they were facing a great enemy. Many ordinary disciples sat on the ground, paralyzed. The remaining elders were even more horrified and did not dare to move. The two people who died just now were on the same level as them, but they were killed with just one slash. That scene was too horrible. They would never forget it. Could it be that this young man really killed the gang leader? When they thought of the situation, they suddenly felt their scalp tingle and did not want to stay any longer. This is a misunderstanding. Let's go. Several elders waved their hands and took the lead to leave. The ordinary members also quickly left like stray dogs. We won. We won. We survived. We were not killed. The surviving members of the Wong family couldn't believe it. The situation that they were going to die was easily solved by a young man. This made them feel like they were dreaming. Great, we can finally live. Everyone was very excited. Benefactor. Wang Shi looked at the sky and cried excitedly. This cry woke everyone in the Wang family. The next moment, everyone looked at the sky, because the young man in the sky was their savior. Lin Xian nodded slightly and floated down. Thank you for saving the Wang family. The Wang family will never forget your kindness. The Wang family leader was grateful. Then, everyone in the Wang family said in unison, "Thank you, benefactor, for saving our lives." They were indeed grateful because they had originally been sentenced to death and would have died without a doubt. However, at this moment, they had survived. All of this was because of Lin Xian. Lin Xian rubbed Wang Shi's head and said to everyone, "The dead can't come back to life. My condolences." "How should I address you? Benefactor? Which sector you from? In the future, the Wang family can repay your kindness." An elder of the Wang family asked. "This is Lin Xian, Brother Lin. He's from Senma College." Wang Shi explained, "There's no need to repay my kindness, but you guys should be careful in the future." Then Lin Xian turned around and was about to leave. "Benefactor Lin," the Wang family leader suddenly shouted. Hearing that, Lin Xian stopped and turned around. "Is there anything else?" The Wang family leader looked like he was struggling to make a decision. Then he sighed and a look of determination appeared in his eyes. "The Wang family is willing to pledge allegiance to Benefactor Lin. Please protect our Wang family." Everyone in the Wang family was stunned. Then, one by one, they came to their senses and looked at Lin Xian with hope. "Please accept Benefactor Lin," everyone said in unison. Although Lin Xian had helped them solve the family crisis, it didn't mean that the Blood Yuan gang wouldn't come back in the future. By then, without Lin Xian's help, they wouldn't be able to escape the fate of death. Moreover, the incident this time made their hearts turn cold. Those forces that they were on good terms with didn't help at the critical moment, so it was better to find a strong backer to save their lives. Lin Xian was from Senma College. His strength, identity, and background were very strong. Moreover, he had saved Wang Shi without knowing him. This showed that he was kind and not evil. Joining this kind of person, the Wang family should be able to develop well. Chapter 736. Are you really willing to join me? Lin Xian asked in a deep voice. Yes. The Wang family head said respectfully, "Our Wang family is an alchemy family. I think we should be able to help you." Alchemy? Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. He was building a force and would recruit more and more members. Alchemy was an essential cultivation resource. Although he was also an alchemist, it was impossible for him to refine so many alchemy pills by himself. Moreover, he did not have that kind of free time. Now that there was an alchemy family submitting to him, it could not be better. "Since you are willing to join, I have no reason to refuse," Lin Xian said, "but there is one thing that I want to make clear in advance. Once you join me, you cannot betray me. This is my bottom line. If you dare to betray me after joining, I guarantee that you will end up worse than the Blood Yuan gang." After saying that, Lin Xian's body soared with a fierce aura, like a peerless killing sword, hanging above everyone's head. The patriarch of the Wang clan, and the elders shuddered as their eyes were filled with astonishment. Too strong, so strong that they could not resist. At the same time, they were overjoyed. With such an expert protecting them, their Wong family would definitely be safe in the future. Now, I will give you one last choice. Are you willing to join? Don't worry, benefactor. Our Wong family is not ungrateful. Since we are willing to join, we will never betray you. Good. Lin Xian nodded. From today onwards, your Lion Moon City's Wong family belongs to the Dragon Sword Pavilion. In the future, your safety will be protected by the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Dragon Sword Pavilion. Everyone in the Wong family murmured. Thank you, Pavilion Master. The Wong family head said respectfully. The others also respectfully congratulated him. All right. Lin Xian waved his hand and then released the Crimson Dragon, asking it to set up a defensive array in the Wong family. He then went to Sky Pool City to pick up Yufei. Originally, he wanted to let Yufei develop in Sky Pool City, but now he had a better choice. It was better to develop in Lion Moon City. The next day, Lin Xian brought Yufei back. Boss, is this the clan you've just subdued? Yufei looked down at the Wong clan's residence with a face full of surprise. And you will stay here in the future and develop together with the Wong family. Soon, Lin Xian brought Yufei to see the Wong family patriarch and several elders. Lin Xian left behind a few pill recipes for the Wong family to refine. The Wong family head and several elders were shocked when they saw this. Most of the pills recorded in this pill formula were related to cultivation, and their effects were extremely shocking compared to the pill formulas in their hands. Who knew how many times better? The few of them looked at each other in shock. It seemed that they had underestimated Lin Xian. Next, he would go to the True Spirit Hall. Only there could he exchange for the small spirit pill. Lin Xian had been to the True Spirit Hall once, so he was familiar with the place. However, on the way, he happened to meet Morong Qingcheng. You're back? Morong Qingcheng was surprised. How was the mission? I've completed it, and I've gained a lot, Lin Xian said with a smile. This decapitation operation was indeed not bad. Not only did he obtain spiritual value points, he had also unexpectedly obtained a pair of top-grade spirit rank gloves. Most importantly, he had subdued an alchemy family. It could be said that Lin Xian was very satisfied. From the looks of it, you must have obtained something good. Morong Qingcheng's beautiful eyes turned. You're really surprising. You can complete a 3-star mission so easily. Hee, it's just luck. Lin Xian scratched his head. Are we going to the True Spirit Hall? Let's go together. The two of them walked side by side towards the True Spirit Hall. Although he had said it once, Lin Xian still felt shocked when he saw the True Spirit Hall again. It was magnificent and incomparably mysterious. It was as if an immortal palace had descended into the mortal world. This was a huge hall that was a few hundred feet tall. It was like a giant mountain that people could only look up at. At the entrance of the hall, countless students were entering and exiting. It was extremely busy. Let's go. Lin Xian was excited as he took the lead. Morong Qingcheng quickly followed. The two of them quickly walked towards the True Spirit Hall. There were many disciples coming and going from the True Spirit Hall every day. Under normal circumstances, no one would pay attention to anything else. However, it was different this time. The nearby students and disciples all stopped and looked in the same direction. There were two figures there, Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng. Of course, these gazes were all looking at Morong Qingcheng. There was nothing they could do. Morong Qingcheng was too beautiful. She was like a peerless fairy, ethereal and elegant. Everyone's gaze was unconsciously attracted by the wine cup. What a peerless beauty! However, this face is very unfamiliar. Could it be that she's a new student? Chapter 737. Morong Qingcheng's appearance had caused quite a stir. A lot of people's eyes flashed as they were shocked. There's another person next to her. His cultivation is very weak. He hasn't reached the honorable realm yet. Humph. How can such a person be worthy of standing next to the fairy? On the spot, a few arrogant fellows sneered and quickly walked over. Beautiful lady, are you a new student? Do you want me to show you around? No need. Morong Chingcheng refused. Wu Ming's face stiffened when he was rejected by the beauty. This result made him feel embarrassed. At this moment, Lin Xian, who was next to him, chuckled softly. This sound ignited a fuse, causing everyone around to laugh. Damn it, kid. What are you laughing at? Wu Ming was furious when he saw that a new student, who had not even reached the honorable realm, dared to laugh at him. I'm laughing at you. Lin Xian's lips curled up slightly. Hearing this, the surrounding students laughed even more cheerfully. Morong Chingcheng also chuckled, then rolled her eyes at Lin Xian. Wu Ming was stunned for a moment. Then he understood. He said that the other party was laughing at him, which meant that he was a fart. When he understood this, Wu Ming's face turned as black as charcoal. Kid, you're courting death. Wu Ming shouted angrily. He stared at Lin Xian with a murderous look in his eyes. This damned brat made him lose face in front of his goddess. Let's go. Lin Xian shook his head and ignored this idiot. Instead, he pulled Morong Chingcheng and walked toward the True Spirit Hall. You want to leave? Stay here. Wu Ming sneered. His 5 fingers formed a claw and grabbed at Lin Xian. A sharp claw that was 10 feet long appeared in the void. It was like the claw of a ferocious beast and was covered in scales. As soon as the claw appeared, it tore the void apart and quickly enveloped Lin Xian. Get lost! Lin Xian's face darkened. He pointed his finger at the claw in the void like a sword. Crack! Poof! The terrifying beast's claws shattered, and Wu Ming let out a blood-curdling scream. He clutched his hand and retreated, his face filled with shock. As for Lin Xian, he left without looking back. Everyone was stunned because they saw blood dripping from Wu Ming's palm, forming a line of blood. Damned brat! Just you wait. Wu Ming took a deep look at Lin Xian, memorizing his appearance, and then left angrily. Lin Xian did not care about injuring Wu Ming with a single finger. He and Morong Chingcheng quickly arrived at the True Spirit Palace. Let go! Morong Chingcheng blushed and pouted. Lin Xian was stunned for a moment before realizing that he was still holding her hand. It's a special situation. Those flies are too annoying. I'm doing this for your own good. Then he reluctantly let go of Morong Chingcheng's soft hand. Morong Chingcheng was a proud daughter of heaven, and her appearance and figure were unparalleled. Lin Xian was a normal man, and it was impossible for him not to be moved. However, he was well aware of the difference in status between them, so there were some things that he did not think about. Humph! Morong Chingcheng snorted, but the strange feeling from before still made her blush. In all her life, other than her father, no one of the opposite sex had ever dared to hold her hand. Damn it, what am I thinking? Morong Chingcheng shook her head. I just want to win this guy over. That must be it. Her eyes flickered, and she did not dare to look at Lin Xian. Instead, she quickly looked around. What's that? Morong Chingcheng exclaimed. She saw a special crystal space above the True Spirit Palace, and there was a fist-sized drop of scarlet blood that was constantly surging. If one were to sense it carefully, they would be able to feel a soul-shaking pressure coming from the blood. That's dragon blood. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He had the great dragon sword spirit, so he could naturally feel the dragon's might contained within the blood. The crimson dragon in the demonic beast pouch was so excited that it almost flew out. Fortunately, Lin Xian caught it and quickly transmitted his voice. Rizalong, are you courting death? There are countless experts here, and there might even be kings. If you jump out now, aren't you afraid of being caught and drained of your blood? Don't worry, since I've seen dragon blood, I'll get it for you sooner or later. Lin Xian comforted. Hearing this, the crimson dragon stopped moving. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief and then walked towards the mysterious jade platform. There, an old man was squinting his eyes, enjoying the beautiful afternoon. Elder, I want to exchange for a small spirit pill, Lin Xian said softly. Hearing this, the elder impatiently snorted. With a wave of his sleeve, a green jade box flew out. At the same time, 20,000 spiritual value points were deducted from Lin Xian's spirit tablet. Obviously, the elder was a little impatient with Lin Xian, who had disturbed his afternoon rest. But in the next moment, he seemed to have sensed something and suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were like torches as he stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's body stiffened. That blazing gaze almost made his blood boil. He held his breath, and at the same time, the crimson dragon in the demonic beast pouch cast a concealing array, completely isolating its aura. Was it my imagination? Did I feel a trace of dragon's might just now? The elder shook his head and retracted his gaze. Elder, I also want to exchange for something, Morong Qingcheng said. Hearing this, the elder opened his eyes again, but when he saw Morong Qingcheng, he immediately grinned. So it's the little girl from the Morong family. What do you want to exchange for? Seeing that smile, Lin Xian muttered in his heart, so the old gang's trash isn't anything good after all. Exchange for the heavenly cloud Ganoderma. Soon, Morong Qingcheng obtained a palm-sized pure white Ganoderma. At the same time, 30,000 spiritual value points were deducted from her. When Lin Xian saw the heavenly cloud Ganoderma, he also took a deep breath. As expected of Senma College, 1,000-year-old spirit herbs could be seen everywhere. What do you want the heavenly cloud Ganoderma for? Lin Xian said. I can refine it myself, Morong Qingcheng said. You know how to refine pills? No. Don't you know how to refine pills? Why wouldn't I use such a good free labor? Morong Qingcheng covered her mouth and laughed. Lin Xian, all right, you two little dolls, stop flirting here. This old man still needs to sleep. The elder sighed. Hearing this, Morong Qingcheng's beautiful face turned red. Lin Xian wanted to say something and touched his storage ring. Suddenly, he thought of something and put his hand down. Sorry to disturb the elder's cultivation. This junior will take his leave. Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng turned around and left. What did you want to say just now? Morong Qingcheng asked. Nothing. What kind of pill do you want to refine? Lin Xian shook his head and asked. 3 days origin pill. It's a pill that can raise the cultivation of the venerable realm. Morong Qingcheng said, I haven't gathered all the ingredients yet. After I gather them, you have to help me refine the pill. All right, Lin Xian agreed. The two of them chatted as they walked. Soon, they returned to the courtyard. This is a pair of boxing gloves that I got outside. Didn't you choose the Luo Ying sword palm last time? I think you should be able to use it. Lin Xian took out a pair of boxing gloves that were glowing with purple light and stuffed it into Morong Qingcheng's hands. Then he ran into the courtyard as if he was running away. Chapter 738. A top-grade spirit-grade artifact. Morong Qingcheng looked at the purple gold fist glove in her hand and was slightly surprised. Then she snorted, Isn't it just giving a glove? Is there a need to be so shy? Although she snorted, there was an unconcealable smile in her eyes. Hugging the purple gold fist glove in her arms, Morong Qingcheng happily walked into the courtyard. Lin Xian returned to the courtyard and casually set up a defensive formation. Then he took out the jade pillbox. With a flick of his finger, he opened the pillbox. Then a ball of fragrance rose, forming a pill fragrance that could be seen with the naked eye. Inhale. Lin Xian took a deep breath and inhaled the pill fragrance into his body. He immediately let out a low cry of comfort. That feeling was too good, as if all the fatigue in his body was gone. As expected of a pill worth 20,000 spiritual value points, the effect was extraordinary. Lin Xian praised. According to his estimate, this little spirit pill was at least a 5th grade pill, and it was a top grade pill among the 5th grade pills. Lin Xian did not consume it immediately. Instead, he adjusted his state to its peak. Then he consumed the little spirit pill. Immediately, a huge wave of spirit energy spread out, as if an endless tide of souls was attacking his body. Longevity art. Lin Xian channeled all his strength to break through to the half-step venerable realm. 2 hours later, there was a sudden change above Lin Xian's courtyard. Wind and clouds surged. Countless spirit energy gathered there, forming a huge vortex of spirit energy that spun rapidly. The nearby students all saw this scene, and many of them raised their heads to look. When Wang Li, the 3 Hao brothers, and the others saw this, they quickly ran towards Lin Xian's courtyard. Did he break through? In the courtyard, not far away, Shaoli looked at the sky, his eyes flickering. I wonder what strength that guy will reach after breaking through. 2nd level venerable realm? Shaoli whispered. He had fought with Lin Xian before, and had witnessed Lin Xian's strange and powerful strength. Back when he was still in the limit realm, his strength was already comparable to a 2nd level venerable. Now that he had broken through to the half-step venerable realm, he was probably even stronger. This guy, I really want to fight with him. Xiao Li's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. On the other side, Shun Yaotian looked at the sky with a gloomy expression. Humph, I'll let you be smug for a while longer. Once I achieve the 2nd layer Martial Highness realm, it will be your death date. Lin Xian's breakthrough attracted the attention of many people, but the process was very short. Soon, the vortex in the sky disappeared. Then, a powerful surge of energy gushed out from the courtyard and swept out in all directions. Whoosh! A figure appeared in the sky. It was Lin Xian. Boss. Wang Li, the 3 Hao brothers, and the others shouted excitedly. Lin Xian nodded slightly. Just as he was about to go down, a shocking saber light slashed down, covering half the sky. It was incomparably terrifying. In the next moment, everyone below trembled, feeling as if their bodies were being split apart. Lin Xian's eyes focused. He let out a long roar, and also slashed out a large sword light. The saber and sword collided, causing cracks to appear in the void. The terrifying sound of metal shook the surroundings, causing countless people to turn pale. How terrifying! Everyone's hearts trembled as they kept retreating. Wang Li and the other members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were also shocked. Who exactly was this person who could contend with their boss? Murong Qingqing's white robe fluttered in the wind as she looked up with a smile on her face. Ha ha, Xiao Li, it seems that your strength has improved. Lin Xian's laughter rang out. I still have something to do today. I'll definitely fight with you another day. Lin Xian waved his sleeve and sent a violent energy storm into the sky. Anytime. Xiao Li replied. Lin Xian landed in the courtyard and said to Wang Li and the others, Come in. Then Wang Li and the other 11 people entered the courtyard. How are the spiritual herbs I asked you to collect? Lin Xian asked. They're all collected. Wang Li and the others said excitedly. This was related to their pills, so everyone was very enthusiastic. Take them all out. Lin Xian smiled. I'll refine some pills for you, and then return to the Blazing Mountain. In 10 days, if I don't return, Wang Li, send 2 people to Lion Moon City's Wang family to get the pills. Say my name, and they'll tell you what to do. All right, you can all go back. Come back in 3 days. Yes, boss. Wang Li and the others left. Lin Xian put away the spiritual herbs on the ground and began to refine pills. Lin Xian's pill refining skills had not fallen behind. Moreover, as his soul power continued to strengthen, he could now easily refine fifth-grade pills. If he could enter the honorable realm, he would be able to refine sixth-grade pills. In 3 days, Lin Xian refined 3 types of pills, all of which were used to improve cultivation. After handing these pills to Wang Li and the others, Lin Xian said, "Take these pills first and work hard to improve your cultivation. During this period of time, I won't be around. So listen to Wang Li. Wang Li, I'll leave these people to you. You must ensure their safety and don't cause trouble. If there's anything, wait for me to come back." "Yes, Brother Xian, don't worry." Wang Li was convinced. After Lin Xian gave these instructions, he immediately left. Not long after Lin Xian left, Murong Qingcheng also left. It seemed that he had accepted submission. Half a day after they left, a figure quickly arrived at the new student area. It was a young man wearing a navy blue robe. His long blue hair fluttered in the wind, and his aura was terrifying like a flood or a beast. "Who is Lin Xian? Get out here." The terrifying voice was like thunder, shaking the surroundings. In the next moment, countless new students raised their heads and looked up in horror. Wang Li and the others also came out of seclusion and raised their heads with gloomy expressions. In the sky, the young man stood on a black cloud and looked around coldly like a demon king. "Humph! Weren't you very arrogant at the Spirit Tower? You actually dared to beat up the Greedy Wolf's people. Now you're scared? Why don't you dare to come out?" Hearing this, the people below understood that the Greedy Wolf's people had come looking for them. However, Lin Xian went out in the morning and wasn't here. Many people saw Lin Xian turn into a sword light and disappear into the sky early in the morning. "Don't insult Brother Xian." The 3 Hao brothers and the others were jealous and rushed forward. "Stop! Don't be rash." Wang Li also rushed out and stopped those people. Then he said in a deep voice, "Brother Xian went out and isn't here. If you have anything to say it later." Although the other party's words made them angry, Lin Xian told them before he left that they must be careful and safety first. Moreover, the other party was a senior and a member of the Greedy Wolf. He must be very powerful. If they attacked now, they would be the ones at a disadvantage. For safety reasons, Wang Li stopped everyone. He left. "Humph! I think he ran away." The man in the green robe sneered. "I thought there was a genius among the new students. I didn't expect him to be a coward." "Kid, as a new student, you must have the awareness of a new student. In this academy, you are the lowest existence. You have no right to be arrogant." Hearing this, the faces of the new students below turned ugly. The man in the green robe was no longer talking about Lin Xian. "F***CK your ancestors. How dare you scold Brother Xian? I'll fight you." Hao shouted angrily. In the sky, the 2 attacks disappeared and turned into howling gales. "To be able to block my punch, you have some ability," the green-robed man sneered. "However, I only used 30% of my strength in that punch. Next, I will use 50% of my strength. Let's see how you can block it." "What? 30% of his strength?" Below them, the new students were shocked. 30% of his strength was enough to make the 3 Hao brothers retreat. After all, they were first-rank venerables. He was actually no match for the green-robed man's fist. It would appear that the cyan-gowned man's strength had most definitely reached the 2nd heavenly layer of Exalted Realm. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be so powerful. "Is 30% of your strength that awesome?" A few people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion shouted. "If you have the ability, go fight for the mysterious sovereign leaderboard. What kind of ability is bullying the new students here?" That's right. Brother Xian isn't here. Otherwise, I'll kill you with one strike. You only came when Brother Xian wasn't here. Why didn't you come a few days ago? You probably didn't dare. The few of them were extremely angry and mocked. They couldn't beat him. So how could they not beat him? I'm afraid of him? The green-robed man laughed. I think water has entered your brains. You actually believe that Lin Xian so much. Let me tell you, I'm a second-rank venerable. That Lin Xian of yours, I can kill him with one finger. He ran fast this time, but you won't be so lucky. The green-robed man emitted a terrifying aura. You dare to offend the greedy wolf gang. Do you think I'll let you off? What's there to be arrogant about? Isn't it just a few more years of cultivation? How to sneered. If I were your age, I could kill you with one slap. Although we are new students, the Dragon Sword Pavilion is not to be bullied by anyone, Wang Li said in a deep voice. If you want to fight, we'll accompany you. All members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion, prepare to attack. With that order, the 11 of them roared angrily. All of them exploded with a powerful aura. The spiritual energy on their bodies was like divine flames as they danced. Everyone attacked together. The momentum was extremely terrifying. In the sky, the green-robed man frowned. Although he was a second-rank venerable, the other party could not be underestimated. Moreover, the 11 of them joined forces. Among them, 5 were first-rank venerables and 6 were half-step venerables. When these warriors gathered together, they were definitely a powerful force. Even he might not be able to completely take them on. It's not that easy to go all out. I'll let you live in fear for the next few days. The green-robed man sneered, then turned into a stream of light and disappeared. Looking at the green-robed man who left, Wang Li and the others heaved a sigh of relief. They were extremely nervous just now. After all, the other party was a second-rank venerable. Moreover, he was a member of the greedy wolf gang. If they really fought, they had no chance of winning. Fortunately, the other party was not confident. Otherwise, he would not have left. Before Brother Xian returns, let's not split up. Wang Li said. Otherwise, we'll be defeated one by one. Humph! What greedy wolf? When Brother Xian returns, there'll be nothing. The few of them cursed and then entered the courtyard. Lin Xian naturally did not know about the provocation of the greedy wolf gang. He had already arrived near the blazing mountain. A fiery red mountain stood in the distance, exuding a monstrous heat that warped the space around it. Scarlet lava flowed like the blood of a demon god. It was incomparably terrifying. Lin Xian looked at the legendary blazing mountain and exclaimed, judging from the energy fluctuations, this place was extremely dangerous. Even if a venerable was here, it would not be enough. However, this was really a good place to cultivate. Lin Xian took a deep breath. Then his body swayed, and he flew towards the blazing mountain. The closer he got to the blazing mountain, the hotter the air became. Following that, there was a dense and majestic spiritual energy. There should be a fire attribute spiritual vein below. The crimson dragon also flew out and looked down. I didn't expect there to be such a place. I can use this opportunity to break through. It let out a howl of excitement. Then let's go. Lin Xian shouted in a low voice. Then he increased his speed. A man and a dragon quickly rushed towards the blazing mountain. Whoosh, whoosh. When Lin Xian landed on the blazing mountain, the heat that filled the sky pounced on him like a ferocious beast. At the same time, the crimson stone under his feet was boiling hot, as if it could melt everything. Lin Xian circulated his spiritual energy and formed a sharp halo that enveloped his entire body. The light shield formed by spiritual energy made contact with the ground, making a sizzling sound. What terrifying heat! Lin Xian exclaimed. It could actually melt his spiritual energy. Chapter 740. The flaming mountain was filled with terrifying heat waves. Martial artists below the venerable realm could not survive here at all. Boom. The crimson stone under Lin Xian's feet suddenly cracked, and a red pillar of light shot out with countless heat waves. Lin Xian's figure flashed and instantly appeared 100 meters away. In the next moment, the place where he was originally standing was covered by molten lava. Blazing molten lava bubbles rolled and cracked, looking extremely ferocious. How dangerous! Lin Xian still had lingering fears. Even a venerable realm martial artist would suffer if they encountered that molten lava. Bang! In the distance, an earth-shattering sound was heard. Endless flames surged out, forming fire crows that pounced into the sky. Then a figure rushed up and engaged in a fierce battle. There's someone else. Lin Xian looked at the battle in the distance and was slightly surprised. Looks like it's a disciple of Senma College. There are so many fierce people here. Lin Xian exclaimed. He originally thought that he was the only one who was willing to come to such a damned place. Now, it seemed that there were many powerful martial artists cultivating here. Retracting his gaze, Lin Xian did not delay any longer. Instead, he turned into a ray of light and rushed into the depths of the flaming mountain. Finding a place with dense spiritual energy, Lin Xian set up a defensive formation and then began to cultivate. The flaming mountain was huge. Lin Xian was still at the periphery, but the spiritual energy was already very dense. Moreover, the main reason was that the heat in front of him had doubled. Unless he used the Red Lotus armor, he would not dare to go forward. After some thought, Lin Xian decided to cultivate on the spot. He would set off after his cultivation increased. The Crimson Dragon did not stay with Lin Xian. Instead, it found a place to cultivate by itself. The snow-white little monkey carried the treasure plate and began to search for spiritual fruits in the surroundings. Lin Xian did not cultivate immediately. Instead, he focused on sensing the fire attribute around him. He had already comprehended the concept of fire and had reached the lesser mastery stage. Now, he wanted to use this place to break through to the perfection stage in one fell swoop. As if sensing Lin Xian's concept of fire, the surrounding flames all jumped as if they were activated. Wong! Countless flames gathered, forming a flaming demon monkey. It was over a meter tall, and its entire body was covered in crimson flames. Its ferocious eyes stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect such a thing to appear here. Roar! The flaming demon monkey roared and grabbed at Lin Xian. With a flash of fire, the flaming demon monkey arrived before Lin Xian. It waved its sharp claws and countless flames roared. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His palm was also covered in a layer of flames as he slammed it towards the flaming demon monkey. The two collided with each other, emitting a sizzling sound. In the next moment, the flaming demon monkey melted under Lin Xian's palm, turning into a clump of dark red flames the size of a fingernail. It quickly entered Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian was shocked. He felt that after the flames entered his body, they did not go berserk. Instead, they turned into the purest form of energy. At the same time, he felt that his concept of fire was much stronger than before. He was able to use flames more easily. Could it be a flame essence? Lin Xian knew that in some special places, the energy between heaven and earth would give birth to spirituality. It also contained a pure and mystical power. The flaming demon monkey from before was probably a type of flame essence. Thinking of this, he became even more excited. If he encountered more flame essences, he would be able to quickly cultivate his concept of fire to the great circle. However, flame essences were very rare. Besides the flaming demon monkey that he encountered at the beginning, Lin Xian did not see anything else. In this way, Lin Xian comprehended the concept of fire while cultivating and improving his cultivation. Boom! The surrounding fire attribute was activated, forming countless flames that rushed towards Lin Xian. This was the result of Lin Xian using the longevity art to absorb spiritual energy. Lin Xian opened his defense and resisted with all his strength. Boom, boom, boom. Those violent flames hit Lin Xian's body, causing his body to sway and his face to turn slightly pale. However, he still gritted his teeth and used the longevity art. In an instant, those flames turned into the purest spiritual energy and drilled into Lin Xian's body. Along with the use of the longevity art, the spiritual energy in his body followed a specific path and became his spiritual energy. With the increase of fire's spiritual energy, Lin Xian felt that the spiritual energy in his body was more condensed and much stronger than before. As expected of the flaming mountain, it can improve so much in such a short time. Lin Xian was delighted and crazily used the longevity art. At the same time, he took out some ordinary fire attribute spiritual herbs from his storage ring and some spiritual pills and spiritual wine and consumed them together. This time, he must break through to the honorable realm. Soon, Lin Xian took out a crimson fruit. There were dark patterns on the fruit. This was a 1,000-year-old spiritual fire, the flaming fruit. He obtained it in the lost place. In the next moment, he ate the flaming fruit. The flaming fruit melted in his mouth and turned into a ball of pure energy that flowed into his body. At the same time, there was a wave of heat. Boom! The 1,000-year-old spiritual fruit contained a huge amount of energy. At this moment, it was completely activated and spread out in Lin Xian's body like a wave of fire. At the same time, more flames collided with the outside world. Those flames no longer existed alone, but formed a cluster like a flaming fork that pierced towards Lin Xian. Countless fire attribute, spiritual energy crazily bombarded Lin Xian's body. In an instant, a large amount of spiritual energy flowed into Lin Xian's body. The spiritual energy combined with the energy of the flaming fruit to form an even more powerful energy attack. Not enough, Lin Xian shouted. If he wanted to break through in one go, he needed more energy. Great Dragon Sword Soul. Transform. In the next moment, a sword aura appeared above his head and turned into a ferocious dragon head. The dragon opened its mouth and formed a powerful devouring force that began to crazily devour the surrounding fire attribute spiritual energy. The great dragon sword soul was extremely powerful, and the devouring force formed at this moment was even more powerful. Countless flames gathered and formed a sea of fire that filled the sky as it pounced towards Lin Xian. More than half of the sky was dyed red. The sea of fire covered the sky and enveloped an area of 1,000 meters. This terrifying scene attracted the attention of the other cultivators on the flaming mountain. Many people raised their heads to look at the fiery red sky in the distance. Who is it that caused such a huge commotion? Many people's eyes narrowed. This terrifying sea of fire was no longer something they could resist. One had to know that the flaming mountain was extremely dangerous. The flames here were not ordinary flames. They had spirituality. They were much more ferocious than the flames outside. Under normal circumstances, martial artists below the Venerable Realm would not dare to enter at all. Even Venerable Realm powerhouses would not dare to attract so many flames at once. This was obviously playing with fire. In an instant, Lin Xian was surrounded by thousands of flames. The terrifying heat melted his clothes, revealing his robust body. Strange patterns quickly formed on his skin, forming an enchanting lotus flower. Chapter 741. Lin Xian engraved the pattern of the red lotus armor on his body, forming a solid defense to resist the terrifying flames. It was because of this defense that he dared to absorb so much at once. The spiritual fire of the flaming mountain combined with the 1,000-year-old flaming fruit to form a powerful spiritual energy that attacked Lin Xian's meridians. Go all out! Lin Xian gritted his teeth and crazily circulated the longevity art. The process was very slow and lasted for 5 days. After all, it was not that easy to break through to the honorable realm. After 5 days, he had gathered enough spiritual energy, and his body overflowed with flames that kept jumping. It's about time. Feeling the spiritual energy in his body, Lin Xian decided to start breaking through to the honorable realm. In the honorable realm, it was no longer the Qi Si, but the martial soul. The martial soul was the source of the honorable realm's power. Lin Xian had already condensed his martial soul and gathered a lot of energy. He already had the possibility of breaking through to the honorable realm. In his body, the dragon sword soul coiled up and formed a mini-dragon. He roared at the sky and sucked a lot of spiritual energy into his body. Buzz. A low sound was heard like thunder. A huge aura overflowed, as if a peerless beast had awakened. The dragon sword soul flickered and kept absorbing the spiritual energy in the surroundings. It became brighter and brighter and gradually solidified from its original illusory appearance. Lin Xian knew that the dragon sword soul was awakening. When it fully awakened, it would enter the honorable realm. However, the dragon sword soul was too powerful. It was like a bottomless pit that crazily devoured spiritual energy. Soon, the spiritual energy in Lin Xian's body was depleted. However, Lin Xian was well prepared this time. He could not afford to fail. He swallowed another 1,000-year-old spiritual fruit and quickly absorbed the surrounding fire-attribute spiritual energy. Roar! The dragon sword soul trembled, and the light on its body became brighter and brighter. Its body was also slowly growing. In the end, it roared and raised its head high. Boom! Lin Xian's body shook. He felt an inexplicable change in his body. It was as if his entire body was sublimated. I broke through. He was pleasantly surprised. This feeling was too wonderful. It was as if his body had endless power. Furthermore, he discovered that his control over the great dragon sword soul had become even more proficient. It was as if the two had merged into one. With a flash, Lin Xian charged into the sky. Endless light bloomed from his body, forming a light dragon that soared into the 9 heavens. This feeling was too wonderful. What is that? A dragon? On the flaming mountain, many people raised their heads in shock. The power just now was too overwhelming, and the entire flaming mountain could feel it. They originally wanted to see what kind of person could actually cause such a big commotion. However, before they could move, a dragon's roar appeared in the sky. Could it really be a dragon? Many people were excited. This kind of thing that only existed in legends. They didn't expect it to really exist. Impossible! That's not a dragon, but some kind of powerful martial skill. An expert looked at the sky and said, "How could a divine beast like a dragon appear here?" Quite a few people shook their heads. They knew that it was impossible for a dragon to appear on the martial heaven continent. However, in the next moment, they were stunned once again. The reason for that was because not long after that light dragon's silhouette appeared, another dragon roar sounded. Following that, an even larger body appeared in the sky. This time, it was no longer a silhouette, but a real body. Those sinisterly flickering scales bloomed with a cold light in the air, and a powerful pressure enveloped the surroundings. Ha! An extremely arrogant voice sounded, as if a peerless demon had appeared. Lin Xian felt this aura and was slightly surprised. This was the aura of the Crimson Dragon. He didn't expect that the other party had also broken through to the venerable realm. Hee, Xiao Xuanzi, let's fight. The Crimson Dragon laughed sinisterly and a huge dragon claw grabbed at Lin Xian. He had broken through to the venerable realm, and his body was 100 meters long, while Lin Xian's light dragon was only 10 meters long. Therefore, this claw completely enveloped Lin Xian. Just nice. I can test my strength after breaking through. Lin Xian smiled, swung the dragon's head, and won. Whoosh. He turned into a bolt of lightning, quickly dodging the attack, and then went against the wind. The two of them fought fiercely, stirring up the wind and clouds in the flaming mountain, and the martial artists watching were shocked. The two dragons are fighting. Many people rubbed their eyes in disbelief. After a few collisions, Lin Xian had an understanding of his own strength. An ordinary second-level venerable was probably no match for him. If he fought with all his strength, he might be able to fight against a third-level venerable realm martial artist. Ouch, it hurts. As expected of an offensive saint technique, the Crimson Dragon muttered, "All right, don't attract the attention of others." Lin Xian shouted, turned into his human form, and landed on the ground. The Crimson Dragon also roared and turned into a 1-meter-long dragon again. Wu Ji, the snow-white little monkey, found a pile of spirit fruits from God knows where and ate them very happily. This little guy didn't need to cultivate and could improve just by eating spirit fruits. It was very magical. Lin Xian didn't know what realm the little white monkey had reached, but the other party was an ordinary first-level venerable, so he didn't feel any pressure at all. Now that his cultivation had broken through, the next step was the concept of fire. Lin Xian looked into the depths of the flaming mountain. Now that his strength had increased, he could set off from here. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian was very curious about the depths of the flaming mountain. The man and the two beasts walked into the depths. Lin Xian walked steadily along the winding mountain path. The temperature in front of him rose again, and orange flames appeared. It was very terrifying. Even though Lin Xian had broken through, he didn't dare to be careless. He found that this orange flame could threaten a second-level venerable. At least if he was careless, he could die. How deep was the flaming mountain? Lin Xian was shocked. He had just entered the mountain and was facing a threat again. He really didn't know what kind of danger there would be. All right, I can't go any further. Lin Xian stopped. He found that with his strength, he couldn't bear to go any further. The Crimson Dragon also looked around curiously. Its body was tough and didn't fear the flames at all. However, it was indeed very hot. At this moment, it stuck out its tongue and was sweating profusely. Damn, what the hell is this place? It's so hot. The little white monkey was also dispirited. It plucked a leaf and covered its head, comprehending the concept of fire here. Lin Xian sat down cross-legged and carefully comprehended. He had once owned the black dragon flames and had mastered many concepts. Therefore, he was very good at comprehending concepts. When he was in the periphery, he had already achieved greater success in the concept of fire. Now, he was only one step away from achieving perfection. However, this step was more difficult than all the previous steps combined. Just as Lin Xian was comprehending, the other martial artists in the flaming mountain rushed over. They wanted to see where the dragon was. However, they came to nothing because Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon had already left their original place and went deeper. This aura, someone has broken through here, an expert said in a deep voice. Chapter 742. Could it be related to the two dragons that appeared? Everyone was puzzled. Impossible. Judging from this aura, he's only breaking through to the venerable realm. Someone said disdainfully. Suddenly, that person's expression froze, as if he had thought of something. Someone below the venerable realm is actually fine here? How is that possible? Hearing that, many cultivators gasped. They were all venerable realm cultivators, and naturally knew how terrifying this place was. Cultivators below the Venerable Realm had no chance of surviving here. However, someone had broken through here, and his cultivation hadn't even reached the Venerable Realm before. This was too shocking. Maybe he's not alone. He might have an expert accompanying him. Yes, that must be it. The cultivators became more and more certain of their thoughts. Then they discussed for a while and finally left. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. In the belly of the mountain of flames, Lin Xian continued to comprehend the concept of fire. Not long ago, he encountered another flame spirit and obtained a lot of benefits after killing it. Now, he was even closer to the great perfection realm. Perhaps he would succeed with another flame spirit. Lin Xian was excited. It was as if the heavens were helping him. Not long after, the surrounding flames burned brightly and jumped, condensing into a giant lava beast. A scorching and powerful aura surged out and swept in all directions as if the god of fire had appeared. That aura was stronger than that of an ordinary second-level venerable. It's here. Lin Xian focused his gaze and looked ahead. It was a 3-meter-tall stone man with countless cracks on its body. Countless flames emerged from those cracks and enveloped its entire body. In its eye sockets, there were 2 orange-red flames jumping, showing a trace of the aura of a soul. Very strong. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He didn't dare to underestimate it. The strength displayed by the other party was at least that of a second-level venerable. It was definitely extremely powerful. His figure flashed and turned into a ray of light, rushing forward quickly. Whoosh! In an instant, he arrived in front of the lava giant and clenched his fist. The surrounding flames danced and condensed into a flaming sword in his hand. Whoosh! As the sword slashed down, a blazing sword light rushed out. It was dazzling and spread like a sea of fire. This sword was extremely violent. It was like a fire dragon that lowered its head and bit down. Roar! The lava giant roared in anger. It clenched its rock-like palm and suddenly blasted it out. Terrifying energy surged out like a volcanic eruption, causing everything in the surroundings to collapse. Boom! The two collided, and a terrifying energy storm swept out, tearing apart the ground in front of them and causing the surrounding mountains to collapse. Both of them took a step back and quickly removed the force from their bodies. This attack was actually evenly matched, but very quickly, the magma beast attacked again. He pounded the ground with his large hands, shattering it. Then he roared, and the flames on his body became even more dazzling. His entire person was like a fireball. Lin Xian frowned slightly. The giant lava beast strength was beyond his expectations. Moreover, its defense was extremely strong. His sword strike just now had actually failed to cut it apart. He snorted coldly and mobilized the great dragon sword soul in his body to form another flaming sword. This time, the fiery light that filled the sky condensed and formed a 3-foot-long crimson divine sword. There were crimson markings on it, and it was extremely mysterious. Sword of summer, scorching sun in the sky. Lin Xian raised his sword high and chopped down with all his might. In the sky, the crimson sword erupted like a golden sun, incomparably dazzling. The light contained a peerless sharpness that was unstoppable and easily tore apart the void. The giant lava beast sensed danger and roared uneasily. Flames flickered all over his body, and he turned into a volcano and rushed over. Everywhere he passed, the ground cracked. Even a second-level honorable would not dare to easily resist such power. Destroy! In the sky, the golden sun-like sword slashed down, annihilating everything and instantly striking the giant lava beast. Ka! Whoosh! The sword light flashed, and the giant lava beast's body stiffened. The rocks on his body continuously fell off and finally turned into a pile of rubble. In the pile of rubble, there was a fist-sized orange-red flame that was constantly pulsing. Flame essence. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he sucked the flame essence into his hand and began to absorb it. The flame essence this time was very powerful, more powerful than the previous two combined. In addition to Lin Xian's superb perception and rich experience, his concept of fire had finally reached perfection after a day. This time, Lin Xian's feeling towards the flaming mountain had changed. It was no longer the kind of rejection, but an unusual feeling of closeness. He knew that this was because his concept of fire had reached perfection. If he could condense a fire soul, then his ability to fuse with flames would be even greater. At that time, all the flames in the world would be at his disposal. "Hey, it's you?" Suddenly, a soft voice was heard. Lin Xian looked back and saw a fiery red figure floating over from behind. Dongfang Phoenix. Lin Xian was slightly stunned. He did not expect to meet her in this place. However, he soon understood that she was a fire attribute genius. It was most suitable for her to cultivate here. What are you doing here?" Dongfang Phoenix stared at Lin Xian with a puzzled expression. "Of course I'm here to cultivate. What else can I do?" Lin Xian shrugged his shoulders. "Cultivate." Dongfang Phoenix sneered. "You have the leisure to do so. Your Dragon Sword Pavilion is about to be torn down, and you're still leisurely cultivating here? I really don't know if there's water in your brain. What did you say?" Lin Xian's expression changed. "You don't know?" This time, it was Dongfang Phoenix's turn to be surprised. She snorted coldly. "These days, greedy wolf's people have been looking for trouble with you every day. Your friends have been bullied very badly. The outside world said that you didn't dare to fight and ran away. I didn't expect you to not know." Greedy wolf. Lin Xian's face was gloomy, and a murderous intent appeared in his eyes. He did not expect that Dragon Sword Pavilion would be in trouble just a few days after he left. "You better go take a look. Otherwise, your friends will be in trouble," Dongfang Phoenix said. "Thank you." Lin Xian cupped his hands, then turned into a stream of light and disappeared. "This guy runs pretty fast." Dongfang Phoenix curled her lips, then looked stunned. "No, this kid's cultivation." Her beautiful eyes revealed a trace of surprise. When she saw Lin Xian earlier, although he was strong, his cultivation was at the limit of the spiritual detecting realm. Just now, he had the aura of an honorable. This kid, he broke through? Dongfang Phoenix was shocked. In less than a month, he had broken through from the limit of the spiritual detecting realm to the honorable realm. This was too big a leap. Even a peerless genius would not have such a cultivation speed. Did this kid have a fortuitous encounter? Dongfang Phoenix could not understand. She decided to wait until she returned to meet this Lin Xian. Lin Xian flew all the way back to Senma College. Without any pause, Lin Xian ran toward the new students' dormitory area. A cold light bloomed in his eyes. Last time, when he beat up Greedy Wolf, he thought that it would teach him a lesson. He did not expect that he would become even more arrogant. "How dare you touch my people? I will make you regret it." Chapter 743. Senma College, Freshman Area. Wang Li and the others were injured and looked at the sky angrily. There were several figures there. The leader was the green-robed man from before, Yu Gui. The others also had powerful auras and had reached the venerable realm. For the past few days, he had come every day with a group of subordinates, trapping the people of the Dragon Sword Pavilion below and making it impossible for them to escape. Since he couldn't catch Lin Xian, it was good to vent his anger on his subordinates. Therefore, he had been teaching Wang Li and the others a lesson every day. Yu Gui and the others looked down with a mocking expression. "Who should we start with today?" Hearing this, The surrounding students shook their heads and silently felt sorry for these people. Wang Li and the others had gloomy eyes and trembled with anger. They didn't expect greed to be so excessive and lead a group of people to block them for 7 or 8 days. Moreover, he beat them up every day. They resisted, but the other party had too many people and a formation. Curse my ass. Let's fight it out with him. Howda roared furiously, his eyes red. Yes, let's fight. Hao Er and Hao San agreed. Wait a little longer. Brother Xian should be back soon, Wang Li said in a deep voice. He was also angry, but the gap between the two sides was too big. If they rashly went up, they would be courting death. Okay, let's start with you. Yu Gui pointed at Wang Li below. Brother Gui, I'll make the first move this time. In the sky, a young warrior laughed sinisterly. I'm the best at teaching this group of freshmen a lesson. Okay, go ahead. Be careful. Don't kill them, Yu Gui said. They chatted and laughed, not putting Wang Li and the others in their eyes at all. It was as if they were fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. F*CK, let's fight. The 3 Hao brothers were furious, and the others roared as well. This was too much of a bully. Oh, you want to resist? Have you forgotten what happened 2 days ago? It seems that I went too easy on you. The warrior from the Greedy Wolf gang laughed sinisterly, then waved a giant gray hand and grabbed downwards. That giant hand was surrounded by a gray aura, which made people feel uneasy. Damn it, Wang Li shouted angrily and suddenly counterattacked. However, Yu Gui simply pointed out a finger and shattered the fist shadow he condensed. You still want to resist? You're overestimating yourselves. Yu Gui sneered. With him present, these people simply couldn't deal any damage. Whoosh! The gray-white hand whistled and quickly grabbed at Wang Li. The others shouted angrily and wanted to attack, but they were restrained by the surrounding array. I'll beat up whoever I want. You have no choice. Just accept your fate. Ha ha! Yu Gui laughed maniacally. This is the consequence of offending greed. Older brother Xian, come back, quickly. Howda! And the others were furious. Lin Xian? Ha! That trash won't dare to come out. Yu Gui laughed. You bunch of idiots. Do you really think that trash will come to save you? He might have already run away. Get over here. The gray-white hand flickered with light like a ghost hand. It was incomparably terrifying and was about to grab Wang Li. At this moment, a sword light flashed and instantly cut the gray-white hand into several pieces. Who is it? The youth was stunned and then became angry. Who dares to stop me? Get out here. Their greed gang actually dared to stop them. They really don't want to live anymore. Older brother Xian, it's older brother Xian. The 3 Hao brothers shouted excitedly. Wang Li's body also trembled with excitement. Lin Xian, that trash. Before the gray-clothed youth could finish his words, a golden palm descended from the sky and instantly slapped him away. Bang! The gray-clothed youth flew out 100 feet in an extremely sorry state. In the next moment, the golden palm flashed like a huge mountain and quickly grabbed at him again. Block it for me! The gray-clothed youth roared and swung his fist. A gray bat appeared in the air. It was 100 feet long and emitted a murderous aura, as if it was really a fierce beast. It let out a shrill cry and quickly rushed into the sky, as if it wanted to tear the sky apart. Bang! The golden palm waved and slapped the gray bat to death. Then it quickly grabbed at the gray-clothed youth. No, that's impossible. The gray-clothed youth was shocked, and his eyelids twitched. He once again launched a terrifying attack, but it was completely ineffective. He could not hurt the golden palm at all. Brother Gui, save me! The gray-clothed youth cried out loudly, no longer as arrogant as before. Yu Gui's expression was cold. He pointed a finger, and a huge finger light rushed out with a purple-black light. It was as if a demon king was rampaging through the void. However, in the next moment, the golden palm suddenly accelerated and dodged the purple-black light. It slapped the gray-clothed youth to the ground. Bang! The ground trembled, as if there was an earthquake. If it were not for the protection of the defensive formation, the surrounding 100 miles would have collapsed. What? The other members of the Greed Gang changed their expressions. This method was too fierce and beyond their expectations. Even Uguay was surprised. Then his face darkened. The other party was actually able to dodge his attack, which surprised him very much. Moreover, what was even more hateful was that the other party had injured his subordinate in front of him without even showing his face. If this were to spread, where would he put his face? "Who is it? Get out here!" Uguay shouted angrily. The other members of the Greed Gang also shouted coldly, "How dare you interfere with our Greed Gang's matters? You're dead." "How arrogant!" a cold voice sounded. "However, in front of me, you have no right to be arrogant. Don't you like to torture people? Today, I'll let you have your fill." Then, the golden palm waved again and grabbed the gray-clothed youth in the deep pit on the ground. It waved in the air and slapped down again. Bang, bang, bang. The ground trembled as if an ancient giant was walking. The gray-clothed youth felt dizzy, and his whole body was about to split open. He was going crazy and even had the thought of dying. He struggled with all his might, but it was useless. Below, the freshmen were stunned. This method is too terrifying. Who is it that is so powerful? Someone who dares to offend the Greed Gang and is willing to help the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Could it be Lin Xian? Impossible. Although that guy has some ability, he's not that terrifying. Didn't you see that Uguay's attack was dodged? That's a second-level venerable. No matter how powerful Lin Xian was, it was impossible for him to be stronger than a second-level venerable. Everyone shook their heads in disbelief. Wang Li and the others were abnormally excited. "Brother Xian, it's Brother Xian. In Senma College, other than Lin Xian, no expert would save them. Brother Xian has broken through. That's great. Kid, don't be too arrogant. Let go." Uguay was angry. Beating up his subordinate in front of so many people was equivalent to slapping his face. "Arrogant? Am I arrogant? Compared to your Greed Gang, I'm far inferior." The golden palm slapped down and tore open the array that trapped the Dragon Sword Pavilion members. Then it threw the gray-clothed youth over. "I don't need to tell you how to deal with this. Boss." The three Hao brothers and the others were excited. "Brothers, let's take revenge." The 11 Dragon Sword Pavilion members pounced forward. No. The gray-clothed youth let out a miserable cry. His voice was filled with endless fear and despair. Chapter 744. The gray-clothed youth screamed miserably as he was tortured by the Dragon Sword Pavilion. In the sky, the members of the Ravenous Wolf Gang had gloomy expressions with a hint of fear. "No one can save you for offending the Ravenous Wolf Gang." Uguay's voice was filled with killing intent. "No one can save you for offending the Dragon Sword Pavilion." The cold voice sounded again. "You're courting death." Uguay was furious. He pointed his 5 fingers at the sky and shot out 5 thick finger beams in all directions. Each beam was as thick as a mountain and as sharp as a demonic spear. They pierced through the void. However, when these attacks hit the void and stirred up a violent storm, they were unable to force the other party out. "You have to be punished for offending the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Now, atone for your sins." The voice reverberated as countless light swords appeared in the sky. Sword chi flickered and filled the sky. Each light sword shone with a cold light. Although they were condensed from spiritual power, they were extremely terrifying and were not weaker than treasured weapons. When dozens of light swords appeared, the wind and clouds changed color, and endless terrifying killing intent filled the air. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the next moment, these light swords all slashed towards the members of the ravenous wolf gang. Not good. Run. The members of the ravenous wolf gang were so scared that their faces turned green and their scalps went numb. That aura was too terrifying, and they definitely could not resist it. Yugui was furious and also counterattacked, but there were too many light swords, and he could not deal with them at all. Bang, bang, bang. Violent collisions and screams rang out. Every time there was a sound, a member of the ravenous wolf gang would be killed. As for the members of the ravenous wolf gang who fell to the ground, they were surrounded by Wang Li and the others and beaten up in just an instant. Except for Yugui, everyone else in the sky was killed. Everyone below was shocked, as if they were dreaming. Yugui's expression was even uglier. He was so angry that he shouted, "Who are you? Come out! You don't even know who I am, and you dare to behave atrociously here?" A disdainful voice sounded. Then a figure appeared. "Brat, it's you?" Yugui was shocked when he saw it. The people below were even more shocked. Lin Xian, how is that possible? When did he become so strong? He can even fight against a second-stage venerable. Oh my God, is he still a freshman? Countless people exclaimed in admiration. Yugui was also shocked. He stared at Lin Xian and suddenly said, "You broke through? Exalt Realm. That's impossible." He screamed, his face full of shock. A few days ago, he was still an extreme martial artist, yet he had broken through to the Venerable Realm in just over 10 days. This cultivation speed had overturned his understanding. That's impossible. Even a peerless genius wouldn't be able to do that. Yugui didn't believe it. "Don't use your useless brain to guess my affairs," Lin Xian said disdainfully. "Aren't you looking for me? I'm here." This voice was very calm, but it was incomparably domineering. But Yugui was stunned and didn't make a move. "What? You don't dare?" Lin Xian sneered. "You've been scheming for so long. You've been squatting in the freshman area for more than 10 days. Wasn't it all because you wanted to make a move on me? Are you scared now? A person like you is no different from a cowardly piece of trash. Kid, don't be complacent." Yugui's face was gloomy. "Although you've broken through, you're not a threat to me at all. I'll let you know the difference between a first-level venerable and a second-level venerable." "Difference?" Lin Xian laughed. "I'll also let you know how ignorant you are. Impudent die for me?" Yugui shouted angrily and raised his hand to attack. A huge purple-black skeleton appeared in the sky, surrounded by purple-black demonic chi. It was like a demon from hell, and its body was full of killing intent. Its two cold eyes flickered with a purple light, causing people to feel fear. Whoosh! Following Yugui's movements, the huge purple-black skeleton also moved quickly. Its ghost claws could shatter heaven and earth as it grabbed at Lin Xian. Vermilion bird seal. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palm and quickly blasted it out. Countless fiery red auras surrounded his fingertips and rushed out quickly. Then, a huge vermilion bird flew out from Lin Xian's fingertips. It spread its wings and soared into the sky. When it spread its wings, it was hundreds of feet long. Its body was bathed in flames, and its feathers were crystal clear. After reaching the perfection stage of the fire concept, the vermilion bird seal's power was even stronger, as if it could burn everything in the world. The fiery red vermilion bird was as tall as a mountain, and its body was covered in a blazing light. It rushed upwards, its sharp claws and wings flapping, as if it could split the world apart. Boom! Pooh! With a claw, the vermilion bird tore the huge purple-black skeleton apart, then turned into a ball of divine fire and burned it out. A strong wind blew, and only powder floated down. Yu Gui's pupils constricted. His ultimate technique was broken just like that. He felt fear in his heart. Yu Gui wanted to retreat because the other party was too strange. However, Lin Xian did not give him a chance at all. The vermilion bird seal was used again, and it quickly blasted over. The flames were blazing, and it was as if a sun was rampaging through the void. Yu Gui could not dodge, so he could only resist. Boom! The vermilion bird slammed into Yu Gui's body, and then a powerful energy wave exploded. Yu Gui only lasted for a moment before he was sent flying. Blood was left behind in the air. A second-level venerable had been defeated in one strike. Everyone below was stunned. Lin Xian's strength had completely exceeded their expectations, especially those from the Ravenous Wolf Gang. They were in despair. Impossible. Yu Gui stood up in the void with difficulty, his eyes filled with shock and fear. "Brat, I won't let you off," he said hatefully. Then countless purple-black chi rose from his body as he tried to escape. "Don't you think it's too late to leave?" Lin Xian sneered. "You injured my Dragon Sword Pavilion's people, and you want to leave just like that?" He snorted coldly and pulled out his sword. Autumn Sword Prairie Fire. Countless flames rushed out from the tip of the sword, jumping and quickly spreading in all directions. Soon, the entire sky was a sea of fire. Terrifying heat waves spread out in all directions, melting the void. One sword had sealed the world in all directions. Now, it was time to settle the score. Lin Xian took a step forward and instantly appeared beside Yu Gui. His 5 fingers were like swords, piercing into the purple-black demonic chi. In the next moment, Yu Gui screamed, "I've already transformed into an illusory body. How can you hurt me?" He screamed in horror. "I've said it before. Don't use your useless brain to think about my matters." Lin Xian said disdainfully, "With your strength, you dare to touch the Dragon Sword Pavilion? You're courting death." He clenched his 5 fingers, causing Yu Gui to scream even more miserably. Soon, Yu Gui transformed into his human form again. "Brat, if you dare to touch me, the Ravenous Wolf Gang won't let you off." "Fool!" Lin Xian snorted. "No need to say such harsh words. I don't intend to let the Ravenous Wolf Gang off, either." He flicked his finger, and a sharp sword light condensed on his fingertip. "If you dare to touch my brother, you will pay the price in blood." Pooh! The sword light pierced into Yu Gui's body. "This sword is for Wang Li." Pooh! "This sword is for Liang Wei." Pooh! Pooh! "These 3 swords are for the 3 Hao brothers." Lin Xian stabbed each name. Soon, 11 light swords appeared on Yu Gui's body and pierced through his body. After some consideration, many people decided to join the Dragon Sword Pavilion. It was for no other reason than Lin Xian's monstrous strength and talent. It was worth it for them to take a risk. These people were not weaklings. To be able to enter Senma College, they were all extremely talented and strong. They had a feeling that Lin Xian could soar into the sky. At that time, Dragon Sword Pavilion might even become a colossus like Senma College. "All right, since we've joined, we're all brothers," Lin Xian said with a smile. "Wang Li, make the arrangements." After that, Lin Xian left these matters to Wang Li and the others. He himself set a set of rules for the Dragon Sword Pavilion. A total of more than 20 people joined, and the Dragon Sword Pavilion's members increased to 32. Of these 32 people, 13 had reached the Venerable Realm, and the rest were half-step Venerable Realm. Although they were nothing in Senma College, they were definitely a terrifying force in the outside world. After entering the Dragon Sword Pavilion, we're all brothers. If there's something for me, there's also something for you, Lin Xian said loudly. I guarantee that you'll have a lot of cultivation techniques, pills, and artifacts in the future, and they'll all be the best. Of course, the Dragon Sword Pavilion also has its rules. First, no betrayal. Second, no killing among your fellow disciples. You're not allowed to bully the weak. No. Lin Xian set a total of 10 rules. These 10 rules became the iron rules of the Dragon Sword Pavilion. No one was allowed to challenge them. The 32 youths looked at Lin Xian excitedly. Every time Lin Xian said a rule, they would shout loudly. This was a group of hot-blooded youths. They had joined the Dragon Sword Pavilion with their hot-bloodedness and trust in Lin Xian. However, they had never expected that Lin Xian would be so powerful, allowing the Dragon Sword Pavilion to soar into the sky. Many years later, when they stood at the peak of Senma College, and even the peak of the Blood Realm, they would still be able to recall this scene. This life was worth it. After settling down the 32 people, Lin Xian returned to the courtyard. He had already broken through to the Venerable Realm, and his strength had greatly increased. He had to consider what to do next. It was impossible to raise his cultivation in a short period of time, because it was too difficult to raise his cultivation in the Venerable Realm. Every step was like ascending to the heavens. One had to have sufficient accumulation and luck in order to break through. Therefore, if he wanted to break through, he had to have enough heavenly treasures. And in the academy, all of this was spiritual value points. Other than that, there was also the matter of dragon blood and investigating the heavenly netherbird. Of course, these things could not be rushed. The most important thing at the moment was to deal with the counterattack of the greedy wolf gang and the freshman assembly. There was still half a month before the freshman assembly. If he could get first place, he would be rewarded with a generous amount of spiritual value points. Therefore, Lin Xian would not miss it. As for dealing with the greedy wolf gang, firstly, there was a conflict between them that would be difficult to resolve. Furthermore, according to his understanding, the boss of the greedy wolf gang was an expert on the mysterious Venerable ranking. Now that he had broken through to the Venerable realm, his strength had improved even more. Ordinary second-level Venerables were no match for him. He felt that he had the possibility of breaking through to the mysterious Venerable ranking, and the boss of the greedy wolf gang had become his first target. He had a lot of things to do, and this was only the beginning. Tidy up and recuperate. The next day, Lin Xian asked the three Hao brothers to go to Lion Moon City to retrieve the pills. When the 500 bottles of pills were brought back, everyone was stunned. These were all pills that could increase one's cultivation. The members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were excited. It wasn't that they hadn't seen many fourth-grade pills before, but this was the first time they had seen so many fourth-grade pills. These 2 are for the Venerable Realm, and these 3 are for those below the Venerable Realm. Everyone gets 3 bottles. Give them out first. Whoever increases their cultivation the fastest will get the remaining rewards. Lin Xian said, "This is only the beginning. Soon you will realize that 5th and 6th grade pills are not a problem." "Yes, thank you, Brother Xian." Everyone was excited. After receiving the pills, everyone left and hurriedly went to cultivate. Liang Wei, go to the mission hall and record down some of the large-scale missions. Wang Li, go and pay attention to the recent movements of the greedy wolf gang and collect information on their missions. Lin Xian instructed again. "Yes, Brother Xian, are we going to make a move?" Wang Li asked. "There's no rush. Let's wait until everything is clear." Lin Xian said, "Don't they like to rob the weak? This time, we'll let them have a taste of what it's like to be robbed." Everything was being carried out smoothly. As the leader of the Dragon Sword Pavilion, Lin Xian only needed to grasp the big picture. After everyone left, Lin Xian released the Crimson Dragon. He was going to start setting up the array. Chapter 746. Lin Xian released the Crimson Dragon. and began to set up the array. Is there a combined array that can be moved and dismantled at any time? Lin Xian asked. You brat, you really have a lot of requests. The Crimson Dragon curled its lips. What? You can't do it. Who was the one who bragged about being number one in array formation? Brat, don't provoke me. Who is Ben Huang? What kind of array formation doesn't he know? The Crimson Dragon said disdainfully, Of course I have this kind of array formation, but it's very troublesome. I'm not afraid of trouble. I have time. Lin Xian said, As for the materials, just say it. Next, the Crimson Dragon asked for a lot of things. Fortunately, Lin Xian killed a lot of sovereigns, especially 2 Tion's storage ring. It's very rich. Therefore, he quickly gathered the things that the Crimson Dragon needed. Next, the Crimson Dragon began to inscribe the array formation while Lin Xian cultivated silently. During this time, Murong Qingcheng came once. She stared at Lin Xian with a smile. I heard that you've made a big splash again. No way. I just taught a few despicable fellows a lesson. How's your mission? Lin Xian asked. It's very smooth. I've obtained a lot of spiritual value points. Soon, I'll be able to gather all the spiritual herbs. When the time comes, you have to refine pills for me. Don't worry, no problem. Murong Qingcheng left in satisfaction. She did not forget her agreement with Lin Xian, so she worked hard to cultivate and strive to enter the mysterious sovereign ranking. 2 days later, Wang Li and Liang Wei had investigated thoroughly. Brother Xian, there are quite a few large-scale missions. I've chosen a few from them, and there are 3 that are below 3 stars. Brother Xian, I've heard about most of the Greedy Wolf Society's recent actions. Are there any missions that the Greedy Wolf Society is going to do soon? Lin Xian asked. They've recently occupied a place in the Blood Forest. It seems like they're plotting something. Wang Li said, Oh, there's such a thing. Lin Xian's interest was piqued. He decided to take a look. At this time, the Crimson Dragon had also finished inscribing the array. It was a combination type array called the 12 Azure Cloud Arrays. It was formed by 12 individual small formations. It could be combined to form a super defensive formation, but it could also be used as a defensive formation on its own. Lin Xian set up the 12 formations of green cloud around the courtyard, together with the courtyards of the other disciples of Dragon Sword Pavilion. They formed a super defensive formation. Within this range, they were extremely safe. Even a second Heaven Venerable would not be able to break through. This freshman area became their temporary stronghold. When they moved away in the future, they could leave the clear sky array at any time, and it would be very convenient. How is it, kid? Ben Huang is amazing, right? Don't you admire me a lot? The Crimson Dragon said proudly. Not bad. You deserve a reward. Lin Xian laughed. I'll take you to have some fun. Have fun? The Crimson Dragon was interested. Then the man and dragon left the academy and flew towards the Crimson Forest. According to the directions given by Wang, Li, Lin Xian searched carefully. Soon, he found the members of the Greedy Wolf Gang. It was hard not to find them. This time, the Greedy Wolf Gang had sent out more than 50 people, and they had surrounded a part of the forest. Lin Xian landed and concealed himself. He and the Crimson Dragon hid in the distance and observed. There seems to be the aura of a demonic beast ahead. The Crimson Dragon suddenly frowned. It was very powerful. Demonic beast? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He sensed carefully and could sense some residual aura in the air. It was very powerful and carried a violent and fierce aura. It's so powerful. I'm afraid it's a powerful existence even among the demon generals. Lin Xian said in a low voice. What kind of demonic beast is it? Can you tell? It's too far, and its aura is very weak. I can't tell for now. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded and began to check the surroundings. He found that there were many natural treasures in the valley ahead which made people jealous. Could it be that the greedy wolf gang is eyeing those natural treasures? Lin Xian frowned and watched silently. In front, a group of people from the greedy wolf gang formed a fan shape. Each of them had a powerful aura, and the weakest was a half-step honorable realm. The three people at the front were the strongest, and they were all at the second sky of the honorable realm, especially the person in the middle. He was burly and had dark red skin. He had a bloodthirsty aura. Brother Hua, shall we take action? A young martial artist looked at the various rare spiritual herbs in the valley excitedly. Send some brothers. Be careful, the burly young man said. Next to him were two young men in black and white robes, each with a black gauntlet. They stood on both sides. They were the black and white generals of the greedy wolf gang. The burly young man in the middle was the vice president of the greedy wolf gang, Hua Tianyi. Hua Tianyi waved his hand. Immediately, the black and white generals led 10 martial artists and ran carefully toward the valley. Whoosh, whoosh. Streaks of black shadows dashed out like lightning. They were extremely fast and arrived in the valley in an instant. Heaven crystal fruit, F*CK, Fu Luo flower. The group of people looked around excitedly. Those spiritual herbs that were extremely rare in the outside world were actually everywhere at this moment. Attack. These people had greedy looks on their faces as they quickly pounced forward. At this time, a strong wind suddenly blew in the valley. Snowflakes began to float in the sky, and the surrounding temperature dropped rapidly. In an instant, the entire valley turned into a world of ice and snow. The cold wind was so cold that even first-rank venerables felt a bone-piercing chill as their bodies shivered. What's the situation? It's cold. F*CK. What the hell? Where did the ice and snow come from? These people's expressions changed drastically. They stopped and looked around cautiously. Hurry up. I don't want to stay here any longer, Black General said in a low voice, somewhat nervous. He felt uneasy, as if something was about to happen. Those warriors moved again, but just as they moved, a huge figure appeared in the snowstorm. It was like an iceberg, moving slowly. The ground trembled and swayed uncontrollably. The sky was filled with a terrifying pressure that made people feel despair. What's that? Not only were the people in the valley shocked, but even those outside the valley were stunned. They all looked ahead in horror. This is? Lin Xian's pupils constricted. The pressure made him fearful as well. However, in the next moment, he activated the great dragon sword soul and destroyed the terrifying pressure. At this time, miserable cries could be heard from the valley. The iceberg-like figure let out an angry roar, and then it spat out a stream of air. Like an ice river, it swept across heaven and earth and rushed toward the greedy wolf gang. Oh no! Retreat! Black General and White General were shocked. They turned into two streaks of light and fled out of the valley. The rest of the warriors also wanted to escape, but they were one step too late. The terrifying ice river covered them. In the next moment, everything was frozen. 10 members of the greedy wolf gang turned into ice sculptures and stayed in the valley forever. Phew! Black General and White General escaped from the valley and heaved a sigh of relief. They had almost turned into ice sculptures. The others looked at everything in the valley, their faces filled with fear. Hua Tianyi also looked at the valley with a gloomy face. Chapter 747. The icy river froze the 10 members of the ravenous wolf gang. In an instant, everyone was stunned by this scene. Lin Xian frowned. He circulated his soul power and looked carefully. In his valley, there was a huge figure moving slowly. From time to time, it would let out a low roar that sounded like muffled thunder. Brother Hua, what's that? The members of the ravenous wolf gang trembled in fear. The pressure was too terrifying. They couldn't resist at all. The black and white generals also returned. Their faces were pale. So many people went out, but only the two of them returned. If I'm not wrong, it should be a demonic beast on the Earth list. Hua Tianyi took a deep breath. He stared at the huge figure in the valley, his eyes full of greed and fear. There were spiritual herbs everywhere in the valley. If they could get their hands on them, it would be a great harvest. Moreover, demonic beasts on the Earth list were full of treasures. It was extremely rare. However, he also knew that demonic beasts on the Earth list were terrifying. They weren't something they could fight against. However, they could try to get their hands on the spiritual herbs in the valley. Let's go! They had to go back and discuss countermeasures. Hua Tianyi said in a deep voice, "Seal the news. Don't let anyone know." Then he took out a purple disc array and poured his spiritual energy into it. It formed an illusion array and covered up the scene. If an ordinary person didn't look carefully, they wouldn't be able to find anything unusual. After doing this, he left with a group of people. After they left, Lin Xian walked out of the forest. He looked at the valley with flickering eyes. "Are you sure it's the frost snow beast that's ranked 178 on the Earth list?" "Yes, it should be it," the Crimson Dragon said. "Moreover, this frost snow beast seems to be very weak. It's a good opportunity to make a move." "You want to kill it?" Lin Xian asked. "You're thinking too much." The Crimson Dragon rolled his eyes. "This is a demonic beast on the Earth list. How can it be so easy to kill? With your strength, you won't be able to do anything to it." "Then what do you mean?" "This frost snowman is very special. Wherever it is, there will be a snow lantern." "Snow lantern?" Lin Xian was confused. "It's a strange spiritual fruit. It looks like a lantern, so it's called a snow lantern. If you obtain it, it will greatly increase your cultivation." Lin Xian's eyes lit up. "Let's go back and discuss this. This time, not only do we have to get the snow lantern, we also have to give the greedy wolf gang a big present." Lin Xian's figure flickered, turning into a sword ray and leaving. Academy Freshman Area. Lin Xian called the people of Dragon Sword Pavilion over. After those people took the pills, their cultivation improved, and some of them even broke through. The students complimented. They had already accepted the existence of the Crimson Dragon. Moreover, the other party's methods were too magical. The Crimson Dragon looked satisfied. "This is nothing. Following Ben Huang will bring great benefits." The snow-white monkey rolled its eyes at the side with a look of disdain. "All right, stop fooling around." Lin Xian glared at it, then said in a low voice, "Focus. We'll move at any time." In front, the greedy wolf gang had already moved. Hua Tianyi and two other experts ran toward the frost snow beast, while the others were led by the black and white generals. They quickly rushed toward the valley. They wanted to attract the frost snow beast's attention so that the others could snatch the treasure. Together with Hua Tianyi was a woman in green clothes, and there was also a muscular man with dark skin. The three of them ran toward the frost snow beast in an attempt to attract its attention. Whoosh! Hua Tianyi was the first to attack. A saber aura tore through the sky and slashed at the beast. There was a grayish-white flame on the saber aura. It was like a ghostly flame of the netherworld. Bang! Sizzle! Soon, the saber aura landed on the frost snow beast's body. The terrifying saber aura could tear through the sky, but it did not cause any damage to the beast. When the grayish-white flame touched the frost snow beast's blue ice armor, it emitted a sizzling sound and was quickly extinguished. Although the saber aura did not cause any damage, it angered the frost snow beast. It turned around angrily and stared at Hua Tianyi and the others with its huge eyes. The blue light in its eyes danced, causing the temperature to drop again. It was as if the world had turned into an ice cave. Roar! It roared and spat out an icicle. The icicle shot forward with a snowstorm. Chapter 748. A blue icicle charged towards them, carrying with it a terrifying icy energy. Hua Tianyi and the other two's expressions changed. They didn't dare to face it head-on, so they could only dodge. The three of them turned into streaks of lightning and dashed through the valley, narrowly avoiding the frost snow beast's attack. Then the three of them waved their hands and threw out 6 pitch-black iron chains that wrapped around the frost snow beast. Swoosh! The black chain was like a spirit snake. It was extremely nimble and quickly wrapped around the frost snow beast. Hurry up! Hua Tianyi shouted. Hearing this, the members of the Greedy Wolf gang moved quickly and ran towards the treasures. In the distance, Lin Xian frowned when he saw this scene. Let's go too, Lin Xian said in a low voice. Let's sneak into the valley first. Be careful. Don't attack first. Yes, the group responded and quickly followed Lin Xian. They had the crystal inscriptions given to them by the Crimson Dragon, which could resist the pressure of heaven and earth. Therefore, it was much easier for them to move. The scene was very chaotic. Lin Xian and the others were moving very quickly, and the members of the Greedy Wolf gang were fighting for the treasures. Therefore, no one noticed the situation at the entrance of the valley. Lin Xian and the others quickly flew in. As soon as they entered the valley, the temperature dropped. The cold wind was bone-chilling and made them tremble. Looking at the treasures and spiritual herbs in the distance, everyone's eyes were burning with passion. However, they didn't act rashly. As they went deeper, the wind and snow between heaven and earth became even colder, as if it was going to freeze everything. Angry roars could be heard in the air, causing people's blood to churn. Waves of terrifying air waves erupted and swept across heaven and earth, causing people's hearts to tremble. These people's hearts trembled. The demonic beasts on the earth ranking were too terrifying. They weren't something they could fight against. Lin Xian was very calm. He had seen many big scenes. Moreover, this was a far cry from the Crimson Dragon when he first saw it. At that time, the Crimson Dragon had just been born. Its huge body was tens of millions of meters long and filled the entire sky. Its terrifying aura was vast and mighty, and even the kings were no match for it. Compared to the Crimson Dragon, this frost snow beast was far inferior. However, it was not something that ordinary people could contend against. However, Lin Xian was extremely astonished by Hua Tianyi and the others. The 6 black chains in their hands were extremely strange. They were actually able to restrain the frost snow beasts for a short period of time. Are they chains made of millennium cold iron? The Crimson Dragon was also surprised. All right, now hide here and wait for the next move. Lin Xian waved his hand, his expression solemn. He had a bad feeling about this. Sure enough, in the next moment, the frost snow beast exploded. It roared angrily, and a cold light blossomed from its body, spreading in all directions. Wherever the cold wind passed, everything would turn into ice. It was extremely terrifying. Those who went to snatch the heavenly treasures were even more unlucky. Icicles rose from the ground one after another. They were incomparably sharp and pierced towards everyone. If they were not careful, they would be injured. There was even one person who was directly pierced through. For a moment, all kinds of screams rang out. The people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion, who were hiding in the dark, were shocked. Fortunately, they did not act rashly. Otherwise, they would have ended up in a miserable state. Brother Xian, what should we do now? Wang Li asked, do you remember the formation that I gave you before? Later, you guys will form the formation and trap the people from the Greedy Wolf gang. As for collecting the heavenly treasures, leave it to Little White. Hearing this, the snow-white little monkey hugged the small bowl, and its big eyes narrowed into crescents. Morong, and I will go to another place. You guys have to be careful later, Lin Xian said. Everyone nodded, indicating that they understood. After being bullied by the greedy wolf gang for so long, they could finally take revenge. In front of them, the frost snow beast roared angrily again. Hua Tianyi and the other two attacked again. The black chains in their hands rattled and emitted a cold light. Like an angry dragon, they entangled the frost snow beast again. This frost snow beast is very weak. Let's attack with all our strength and trap it again, Hua Tianyi shouted. The green-clothed lady and the tanned man nodded. The three of them attacked and formed a terrifying energy. With the help of the 1,000-year cold iron chain, they fought with the frost snow beast. The frost snow beast was restrained again. Lin Xian saw that it was about time and ordered the people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion to prepare the formation. As for him, Morong Qingcheng, and the Crimson Dragon, he set off deeper into the forest. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dozens of figures moved quickly and ran along the edge of the forest, forming a large formation. Then, these people released their spiritual energy and activated the formation, surrounding the people from the Greedy Wolf Gang. What's going on? The people from the Greedy Wolf Gang had a good opportunity to snatch the heavenly treasures. However, the scene around them changed drastically. Is this an illusion formation? Someone exclaimed. Damn it, we're surrounded. What should we do? Everyone looked at the black and white generals split into two teams. One team will continue to snatch the spiritual herbs while the other team will attack the formation. The black and white generals shouted. Then, the two of them split up. Buzz. Whoosh whoosh. Chapter 749. Hua Tianyi's terrifying palm attack enveloped the people of the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Disperse! Wang Li shouted. Immediately, the group of people retreated. Boom! The terrifying palm attack missed, and the people of the Dragon Sword Pavilion gathered again. Damn it! How dare you fight back? The three Hao brothers were furious. Brothers, beat him up! Immediately, the disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion attacked the people of the Ravenous Wolf Gang. With the absolute advantage, the people of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were having a great time. On the other side, Lin Xian, Morong Qingcheng, and the Crimson Dragon sneaked into the depths of the valley. They did not alert anyone. With the help of the Crimson Dragon's formation, even the frost snow beasts were fooled. Haha, snow lanterns, Ben Wang is here. The Crimson Dragon was excited. The nest of the frost snow beasts was right in front of them. The three of them entered and searched quickly. Finally, they found the snow lanterns that the Crimson Dragon had mentioned. They were snow white and shaped like lanterns. They were the size of fists. There were 5 of them, and Lin Xian had taken all of them. However, he only took the fruits and did not touch the plants. With the snow lanterns in hand, Lin Xian gave 1 each to Morong Qingcheng and the Crimson Dragon. Then he put the remaining 3 into his storage ring. There's something inside. Suddenly, he frowned and walked in. In the next moment, he was stunned. In the depths of the cave, there were 3 azure blue eggs, as big as millstones. Damn, good stuff. You can recover your origin if you eat it. The Crimson Dragon cried out in surprise, drooling. As if sensing the threat of the Crimson Dragon, the 3 eggs trembled slightly. In the next moment, an angry roar was heard. It was as terrifying as the thunder from the 9 heavens. Oh no! The frost snow beasts have discovered us. Let's go! Lin Xian's expression changed greatly. He could no longer care about anything else. He pulled Morong Qingcheng and ran. The Crimson Dragon cursed in a low voice. It looked at the 3 azure blue pills unwillingly and left quickly. These 3 eggs had already gained sentience. He had no chance to steal them. If he tried to steal them by force, he might be targeted by the Frost Snow Beast. With his current strength, he was completely unable to defeat that ice beast. Damn it, you 3 little things are lucky. The Crimson Dragon turned into a red light and quickly fled the cave. On the other side, the Frost Snow Beast sensed its child's cry for help. It was enraged. As if it had gone mad, its aura surged and it broke the 6,000-year cold iron chains. Bang! A powerful force of wind and snow gushed out, blowing Hua Tianyi and the other 2 away. Damn it! Why did this guy suddenly go crazy? The green-clothed woman's face turned pale. Hua Tianyi's expression didn't look good either. They didn't manage to snatch many spiritual herbs, and the frost beast here went crazy again. They were really unlucky. Bang! 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 Huge icicles pierced out from the ground. There were at least 1,000 icicles densely packed together. It was a terrifying sight. In the sky, the river of ice flowed backward. The cold air was oppressive and enveloped the surroundings. Roar! The frost snow beast roared angrily and spat out countless frost, causing the entire valley to freeze. Oh no! This beast has really gone crazy. Hua Tianyi and the other 2's expressions changed drastically. They turned around and left. However, in the next moment, the void rippled, and a terrifying sword chi slashed toward them. It was extremely stunning. The sword chi flashed like a waterfall. It had a sharp aura that caused people's hearts to tremble. In an instant, it slashed at Hua Tianyi. Hua Tianyi didn't expect a sneak attack at this time. Therefore, when he reacted, the sword chi had already slashed his body. He could only face it head-on. However, the sword chi was too powerful and sent him flying. Bang! Bang! Not only Hua Tianyi, but the other 2 members of the Greedy Wolf Gang were also sent flying. Moreover, they were sent flying in the direction of the Frost Snow Beast. Damn it! Who is it? Hua Tianyi went crazy. He used all his strength to stop his body and dodged the Frost Snow Beast's attack with difficulty. He looked around angrily, but he only saw 3 afterimages disappearing in the sky. The ones who launched the sneak attack were Lin Xian and the others. They didn't stop and directly met up with the people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Brother Xian, Wang Li, and the others saw Lin Xian and cheered in surprise. "Let's go! Leave the valley!" Lin Xian said. Yes. No one delayed, and all of them moved quickly. They had all heard the terrifying sound just now. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Xian hadn't returned yet, they would have left long ago. At this moment, Lin Xian had returned. They had almost picked all the spiritual herbs. Moreover, they had beaten up the people from the Greedy Wolf Gang. There was no reason for them to stay any longer. "Let's go!" More than 30 people rushed into the sky, turned into rays of light, and left the valley. Not long after Lin Xian left, Hua Tianyi and the other 2 arrived. "Brother Hua!" The people from the Greedy Wolf Gang wailed. They were all covered in wounds and looked very miserable. What was even more unfortunate was that they didn't manage to snatch many spiritual herbs. This time, it could be said that they had lost. "Brother Hua, it's Lin Xian, that kid." "Yes, it's the people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion." "We've been tricked." The people from the Greedy Wolf Gang turned green. "Let's leave here first." Hua Tianyi's eyes were gloomy. His heart was filled with killing intent, but he had to leave first. Roar! Behind them, the Frost Snow Beast ran over. Balls of ice fell and filled the entire sky. "Let's go!" The people from the Greedy Wolf Gang were terrified and ran for their lives. Like stray dogs, they screamed and ran away from the valley. Lin Xian and the others came out of the valley and ran back to the academy. Then they gathered together and activated the 12 formations of green cloud to form a solid defense. Then they began to distribute the spiritual herbs. First, there were the snow lanterns. They were given to Murong Qingcheng and the Crimson Dragon. Lin Xian still had 3 left. He kept one for himself and gave one to the Snow-White Monkey. He planned to make the remaining one into spiritual wine and distribute it to the others from the Dragon Sword Pavilion. As for the spiritual herbs, the Snow-White Monkey had snatched more than 50 stalks, which was enough for everyone. This was a great harvest. Wang Li and the others were in a good mood. Not only are there spiritual herbs and spiritual wine, but more importantly, we taught the greedy wolf gang a lesson. Those guys are probably miserable now. How can they not be miserable? If it were me, I would definitely be sullen. But the more miserable they are, the happier I am. Everyone laughed. At this moment, angry voices suddenly came from the sky. Lin Xian, get out here. Dragon Sword Pavilion, come out and die. The voice was like thunder, shaking the surroundings and attracting the attention of the other students. Hua Tianyi led more than 30 people and stood in the sky. His body was surging with killing intent, as if he wanted to eat people. Not only that, these people were all injured and looked to be in a sorry state. What's going on? Aren't these people from the Greedy Wolf Gang? Why are they here again? I heard that they're here to find Lin Xian. Could it be that they're here for revenge? That shouldn't be the case. Even if they're taking revenge, they can't be in such a sorry state. Could it be that it's not because of last time, but because something happened? Everyone guessed and were shocked. Below, Lin Xian and the others sneered when they heard the voice of the Greedy Wolf Gang. These bastards came quite quickly. Brother Xian, what should we do? Everyone asked. Since they're here, how can we not meet them? Come, follow me out and see if we can anger them to death. Chapter 750. Lin Xian walked out with the Dragon Sword Pavilion and quickly attracted the attention of the crowd. No way. He still dares to come out? Isn't he courting death? Yeah, the Greedy Wolf Gang has more than 30 people this time. I'm afraid no one can fight against them, right? Everyone shook their heads. In the sky, Hua Tianyi and the rest saw Lin Xian come out, and their eyes were filled with killing intent. Humph, kid, no one can save you if you dare to have ideas about the Greedy Wolf Gang. Believe it or not, today will be the day you die. Hua Tianyi's eyes were also cold. He said sternly, hand over those things, then kneel down and kowtow to apologize. Perhaps this matter can be resolved. Otherwise, just wait to be tortured. I dare guarantee that from today onwards, there will be no place for you in Senma College. Who is this? So arrogant? How to sneered? I don't know, looks like a beggar. Lying through your teeth. Is that a beggar? Beggars are much cleaner than them. I think it's a stray dog. Ha ha ha. The Dragon Sword Pavilion disciples roared with laughter. Lin Xian also looked at the sky with a smile. Apologize? What a joke. He didn't think that the other party would be so kind as to solve the problem with an apology. Moreover, only one of them could exist between him and the Greedy Wolf Gang. Hearing the words of the Dragon Sword Pavilion, the surrounding students were shocked. This was a naked provocation. No, this was a slap in the face in front of everyone. How could the Greedy Wolf Gang tolerate this? Sure enough, before the laughter of the Dragon Sword Pavilion faded, the Greedy Wolf Gang was already furious. You're courting death. The Greedy Wolf Gang was furious. They waved their palms and slapped downward. Boom. The huge light palm was blocked in midair and collided with a light screen, producing a loud boom. Then, the light palm was reflected back. It was blocked. The Greedy Wolf Gang was stunned. Then, their faces became even gloomier. Boom, boom, boom. Another person attacked. Terrifying light beams fell and rushed toward Lin Xian and the rest. However, no one could pass through the light screen. They were all blocked. What? How is this possible? What kind of formation is this? Why is it so powerful? Everyone was dumbstruck. That was the attack of more than 10 experts. Yet it actually didn't break through. This defense was too terrifying. Humph, what do a bunch of country bumpkins know? Below, the Crimson Dragon was disdainful. The 12 formations of Azure Cloud was a famous ancient formation. Added with the fact that he had personally set it up, it was extremely powerful. This was something that Lin Xian had specifically requested. It was impossible for these people to break it. Damn it, what kind of formation is this? Why is it so evil? The greedy wolf gang members' expressions turned ugly when they saw that the light screen was still intact. Brat, come out if you dare. The members of the greedy wolf gang shouted angrily. Humph, trash. Come in if you have the ability. This young master will crush you to death with one hand. The people from Dragon Sword Pavilion sneered. They would not lose in a war of words. Humph, what Dragon Sword Pavilion? So it's just a bunch of useless cowards who don't even dare to step out of their doors. Oh, how are the greedy wolves doing? Isn't it just that you came to the academy a few years earlier? You can't beat the established factions and can only bully the freshmen. If I were you, I would have killed myself long ago. That's right. What kind of ability is bullying the freshmen? If you have the ability, this young master will also cultivate for a few years and destroy you in a matter of minutes. Wang Li and the others sneered. Lin Xian, this is your Dragon Sword Pavilion? You don't even have the courage to fight. What kind of club are you forming? Hua Tianyi said coldly, I think you're mistaken. Lin Xian laughed. We're not hiding. We're standing here openly. It's your own fault for not being able to enter. How can you blame others? Senior, I only want to ask one thing. Have you wasted so many years of cultivation on dogs? Hearing Lin Xian's arrogant and domineering words, the surrounding students could not help but laugh. This guy really knew how to insult others. You're courting death. Hua Tianyi's pupils shrank as he quickly threw out a punch. Bang! An earth-shattering sound rang out as ripples appeared on the defensive light screen. However, it gradually calmed down and did not shatter. He blocked it. Seeing that his attack was ineffective, Hua Tianyi's face turned ugly. No one dared to underestimate him. Anyone who dared to underestimate him had already been trampled under his feet. Now, Lin Xian actually slapped him in the face in front of everyone. This was something he could not tolerate. If it was any other time, he would have already trampled Lin Xian under his feet. However, that damned formation had stopped everything, and he could only watch helplessly. Young Master Hua, let us help you. The girl in green and the dark-skinned man also walked forward and stood side by side with Hua Tianyi. The three experts attacked together. Immediately, the surrounding people exclaimed. They all thought that Lin Xian was dead meat this time. Even the people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion were worried. However, Lin Xian was still smiling as he looked at the sky. He was not nervous at all. This was a formation set up by the Crimson Dragon. Others might not know how powerful it was, but he knew, not to mention Hua Tianyi. And the other two, even a third heaven venerable, might not be able to break it. Therefore, he was not nervous at all. Smiling? I'll make you lie at my feet like a dog in a while. Hua Tianyi's eyes were filled with killing intent. Attack. With a low shout, the three of them attacked together. Their terrifying attacks shook the surroundings, shocking everyone. However, the defensive light screen was still intact. How is this possible? Hua Tianyi was shocked. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The three of them were second heaven venerables. When the three of them joined forces, their power was absolutely terrifying. However, they could not break the defensive light screen. What kind of formation was this? It was not only Hua Tianyi. Everyone was puzzled. In particular, the other freshmen were very envious. This was the safest defense base. Looks like your strength is not as good as your mouth. Lin Xian shrugged. Take your time. I'm going to cultivate. With that, he turned and left. The people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion also looked at the sky mockingly. Then they all raised their middle fingers. You want to break the formation? In your next life. Go back. The group of people mocked and left as well. Damn it, damn it. Hua Tianyi was so angry that he went crazy. He had a lot of skills, but he could not use them. I don't believe that you will hide in there for the rest of your lives. All of you, listen up. Send people to take turns to monitor them. As long as they dare to come out, report to me immediately. Hua Tianyi said hatefully. Then he waved his sleeve and quickly left. The other members of the Greedy Wolf Gang also left. They did not have the face to stay here. Only 2 disciples were left to monitor the movements of Lin Xian and the others. Brother Xian, we are being monitored. It looks like the other party is not willing to give up. Wang Li was a little worried. Monitoring? Then let them monitor us. Lin Xian sneered. Then what should we do? Cultivate. All of you go back and cultivate, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. From now on, you are not allowed to go anywhere. Stay here and cultivate until the freshman assembly begins. Freshman assembly? Everyone's eyes lit up. Then they all laughed. It seemed that the members of the Greedy Wolf Gang outside had waited in vain. Chapter 751. In the following days, Lin Xian and the rest did not go out. Instead, they focused on cultivating and preparing for the freshman assembly. A single snow lantern allowed Lin Xian's cultivation to advance and consolidate. Now, the blood and qi in his body were like an ocean, surging and roaring with boundless power. Other than that, he mainly comprehended the 4-season sword technique and refined some pills in his spare time. His days were full. Soon more than 10 days had passed, and the freshman assembly was approaching. Lin Xian gathered everyone and said in a deep voice, "Tomorrow is the freshman assembly. I don't expect you to get first place, but I want you to do your best to get a satisfactory ranking. Now, you are not only representing yourselves, but also the Dragon Sword Pavilion. This time, let them see the glory of the Dragon Sword Pavilion." Yes, the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion shouted excitedly. All right, go back and relax. Prepare for tomorrow's assembly. The next day, at dawn, the whole of Senma College was boiling with excitement. Countless freshmen were excited, eager to show off their abilities. They had gone through countless difficulties and finally entered Senma College, winning the envy of the outside world. However, after coming to Senma College, everything had to start from scratch. They were the lowest level of freshmen and needed a competition to prove themselves, and the freshman assembly was undoubtedly the best stage. Every year's freshman assembly received special attention because these new blood were likely to soar to the sky in the future. They wanted to use this competition to distinguish who was the real dragon. Lin Xian opened the door and walked out of the courtyard. He saw Morong Qingcheng, and the 2 of them smiled and gathered together. Then the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion gathered together. This time, they were dressed in black with a dragon-shaped sword embroidered on their sleeves. Each of them was high-spirited and extraordinary. Not only them, but all the students in the first area were excited. They could not wait to start the competition. All right, we can temporarily remove the defensive formation. At this time, the Ravenous Wolf Gang will not dare to cause trouble, Lin Xian said with a smile. Whoosh. Soon, a cloud flew over from the distance. It was like a purple mist from the east, carrying a trace of mystery and dominance. Whoosh. In an instant, the purple mist was above the freshman area. The mist rolled and condensed into a figure. It was the middle-aged instructor from before, the square-faced middle-aged man, Instructor Gua. Little guys, are you ready? If you're ready, follow me. After saying that, he turned around and flew into the distance. Whoosh, whoosh. Countless new students followed behind the middle-aged man. Go. Lin Xian took a deep breath and waved his hand. Then, he led the Dragon Sword Pavilion's people into the air, as well. To be honest, the mountain peak was not close to where they were, but they could see it clearly because it was too big. The Black Mountain Peak was 10,000 feet tall and pierced through the clouds. It was like a peerless divine sword that pierced through heaven and earth. Not only that, but the mountain also emitted a different kind of aura. It was like a dormant ancient beast, bringing with it a sense of oppression. Seeing everyone's expressions, the young lady elder chuckled. Let's talk about the rewards. The first place will be 1 million spiritual value points, the second place will be 500,000 spiritual value points, and the third place will be 200,000 spiritual value points. The rest will be calculated in this manner. Not only that, the top 3 will also have a chance to enter the Hall of Divine Statues. That is something left behind by a king. If you are lucky, you might be able to obtain the inheritance. Hall of Divine Statues? The king's inheritance. Hearing this, the crowd below was shocked. Then, they were ecstatic. Many people's eyes turned red like rabbits. This news was too shocking. One had to know that a king was the pinnacle existence on this mainland. He was the true ruler. The number of kings on this mainland could be counted with one hand. Now, they had a chance to comprehend the king's stone statue and obtain the king's inheritance. This was too rare. Countless people would go crazy. As expected of Senma College, they even have a king's stone statue. Lin Xian was also extremely shocked. At the same time, he became even more determined. He had to take first place this time. However, he soon frowned. Such a generous and attractive reward, but the competition was so simple, it seemed impossible. He looked at the dense forest below. His eyes flickered, and he became vigilant. At this moment, in the sky, Elder Hua also smiled and said, "Seeing that you are so excited, I will remind you that there are many demon beasts in the mountain range. You have to be careful." Chapter 752. Demonic Beasts? Everyone was stunned, but they didn't take it to heart. They were proud sons of the heavens and did missions all day long. Why would they care about demonic beasts? Most likely, his greatest enemy would still be these fellow disciples beside him. Lin Xian frowned again. Elder Hua wouldn't have said anything if there wasn't a reason. Could there be some special demonic beasts here? His eyes flickered, and he decided to pay attention when the time came. "The freshman assembly begins now," Elder Hua said in a clear voice. Then, countless freshmen were excited. They quickly turned into streams of light and flew toward the mountain range in the distance. This scene was very spectacular. Perhaps only Senma College could see it. Seeing the backs of the freshmen leaving, the sage-like old man stroked his beard and said, "It seems that not many of them paid attention to your reminder. What does it matter? I've already reminded them. If they don't take it to heart, they can't blame me." Elder Hua curled his lips, "But I'm looking forward to seeing these freshmen in a sorry state." The mentors beside him smiled bitterly. If he didn't make it clear, how would the freshmen know? Of course, they only thought about it in their hearts. They wouldn't say it out loud. Countless freshmen rushed into the forest as fast as lightning, causing a huge commotion. Roar, 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 roar. With the invasion of these freshmen, angry roars came from the forest. The demonic beasts that lived in the forest were furious. They were very dissatisfied with these invaders. Humph! Many people snorted and attacked ruthlessly. Terrifying and gorgeous energy surged out, sending the nearby demonic beasts flying. They were like fierce dragons crossing the river. They were very powerful. However, this angered the demonic beasts in the forest even more. Groups of demonic beasts formed into groups and pounced toward the freshmen. In an instant, a great battle broke out. Blade light and sword shadows. Vast spiritual power surged and surged. On the opposite side, the demonic beasts were furious. Their roars shook the sky as they pounced crazily. It was as if two torrents had collided with each other. Shocking energy fluctuations surged out in all directions like tidewater. The entire forest became restless and uneasy. The situation was very chaotic. Not only did the freshmen have to fight with the demonic beasts, but they also had to be wary of the students around them. After all, everyone was an opponent. At this time, the role of the society was displayed. Lin Xian led the Dragon Sword Pavilion and charged quickly. Like a sharp knife, he pierced into the demonic beast army. Wherever he passed, no one could stop him. These people were originally experts, and they were all from the same organization. When they worked together, the power they produced was very strong. Lin Xian did not even draw his sword. Instead, he clasped his fingers together, and a stream of sword chi flew out from between his fingers, slashing forward. With a single slash, dozens of demonic beasts in front of him were sliced in half. Their corpses fell to the ground and were instantly trampled into meat paste by the demonic beasts behind. Murong Qingqing's white robes fluttered in the wind like a fairy descending from the heavens. Every time she struck out with her palms, the wind from her palms was so sharp that it created a vacuum in front of her. With the two of them taking the lead, the other party's speed increased greatly. The demonic beasts on both sides were cleaned up by the other members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion. They had consumed quite a number of medicinal pills. In addition, they had been cultivating diligently during this period of time. Their strength had greatly increased compared to when they had entered the academy. These demonic beasts were nothing to worry about. Seeing that Lin Xian's Dragon Sword Pavilion had taken the lead, the scattered students also began to gather together to fight against the demonic beasts. Among them, there were a few groups that were very powerful. They did not seem to be weaker than Lin Xian. Lin Xian spread out his soul force and discovered that those groups were led by some experts. It seemed that he was not the only one who had formed a club. The others had also made preparations. "Follow closely. I'm going to speed up," Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then the spiritual energy in his body surged, and his speed increased once again. The sword light at his fingertips became even sharper. Spring rain silk. Countless sword chi surged like spring rain, penetrating all openings. They quickly shot forward and pierced through the demonic beasts in front of them. The other groups were not to be outdone. They quickly charged forward, trying to shake off the others. For a moment, a tense atmosphere filled the forest. Not long after, they arrived at the depths of the forest. The demonic beasts here were even more powerful. There were even demonic generals. They were demonic beasts comparable to martial supremacies. Moreover, they had gained intelligence and could control demonic beasts. They brought great trouble to the new students. Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing, and the others were powerful and were not affected much. However, the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion behind them could not keep up. After all, they were only ordinary geniuses. The stronger ones had only reached the first level of martial supremacy. Compared to Lin Xian, there was still a huge gap. "Brother Xian, don't worry about us. You guys go first. You must get first place. The Dragon Sword Pavilion is mighty." Those people looked at Lin Xian excitedly. "All right, be careful," Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then he turned around and his eyes bloomed. The aura on his body became even more fierce, like a peerless divine sword that was quickly awakening. Boom. With a stomp of his foot, he was like a divine sword that had been unsheathed. He rushed forward quickly, and wherever he passed, the void trembled. Any demonic beast that was touched by the sword light instantly turned into a bloody mist. Not a single one was spared. It was too spiritual. Nothing could stop it. There was even a demonic general who tried to stop it, but it was pierced through the chest. Wherever Lin Xian passed, a vacuum appeared. Beside him, Murong Qingcheng had a smile on her face. She was like a fairy beside him. They were not the only ones. The other teams also adopted the same method. Those powerful warriors left the team and began to go on their own. Lin Xian saw several powerful figures rushing out towards the huge mountain. He no longer held back and moved out with Murong Qingcheng. The two of them were like shocking rainbows. After killing along the way, they finally rushed out of the horde of demonic beasts and arrived at the foot of the huge mountain. From afar, they only felt that the black mountain was so tall that they could not see the top. Now that they were at the foot of the mountain, they were even more shocked by the aura. That sentence was like a primordial beast that made him tremble. Compared to him, those new students were not even comparable to ants. However, these insignificant new students wanted to conquer this mountain. Let's go! Lin Xian took the lead and rushed in. Roar! A purple python with a pair of wings on its back pounced on Lin Xian when it saw him in the air. A black shadow flashed and pounced on Lin Xian. Get lost! Lin Xian roared and punched out with his right fist. On his golden fist, electric arcs flashed and intertwined to form a dragon head that exploded the purple python. A bloody mist sprayed out as the huge corpse fell, smashing a deep hole in the ground. Those who rushed over from behind were shocked when they saw that. It was too powerful. It was like a humanoid beast. However, just as the giant python fell to the ground and died, several cold glints suddenly lit up and quickly pierced towards Lin Xian. Their speed and timing were good. It was obvious that they were experts. Lin Xian frowned. He did not expect that someone would dare to assassinate him. Spirit energy surged from his body and turned into countless sword shadows that swept in all directions. Ding, 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 ding. A series of hurried sounds rang out. Countless cracks appeared in the void, and sparks flew. Several figures appeared in the void and retreated continuously. Chapter 753. Several figures retreated from the void and landed on the mountain path. At the same time, more than 10 martial artists surrounded Lin Xian. These people had cold expressions and powerful auras. They were all in the honorable realm. There was a red sun on their chests that seemed to be rising. They are Zhou Su's men. They are from the Rising Sun Hall. Murong Qingcheng said. Zhou Su. Lin Xian frowned slightly. He remembered that there was a fierce young man who had confronted him in the True Spirit Hall. He had almost forgotten about it. He did not expect the other party to make a move at this time. Kid, if you know what's good for you, stay where you are. The 10 figures around him snorted and stepped out at the same time. Their auras erupted and swept out in all directions like waves. These people were all in the honorable realm. This was too terrifying. Even a level 2 honorable realm would not be able to withstand the combined forces of 10 level 1 honorables. And now, these people had joined forces to stop Lin Xian. The freshmen who had rushed over were also shocked. They did not stay and left quickly. They did not want to be implicated and did not want to stand out, so they left very quickly. Kid, the first place of the freshman competition is Brother Su's. Don't even think about it. One of the young martial artists snorted. Brother Su, Lin Xian sneered. If he was so confident, he wouldn't have stopped me. Humph, Brother Su doesn't take you seriously. This time, he just wants to teach you a lesson. Attack. The young man shouted coldly. Then the surrounding figures rushed out quickly. Attack, Lin Xian said to Murong Qingqing beside him. Then their auras erupted and blasted out in all directions. Murong Qingqing waved his hands and surrounded the 5 people nearby. Lin Xian also pulled out the Wind Shadow Sword, and a terrifying sword radiance swept out in all directions. A great battle broke out, and terrifying spiritual energy surged. 1,000 miles away, a special place was formed. The freshmen and demonic beasts did not dare to come close. The sword radiance was like the wind, and the swift spiritual energy arrived in front of a martial artist in an instant. Condense! The martial artist condensed an armor and punched out with both fists. Crack, crack! However, he had underestimated Lin Xian's sword light. In an instant, it had cut through his defense and left a sword mark on his body. If he hadn't shown mercy, this sword strike would have been enough to take his life. Lin Xian had already entered the honorable realm and become a true honorable realm. His strength had already reached the 2nd level of the honorable realm. Therefore, he did not feel any pressure when facing these first-rank venerables. As the 4 swords pierced out, the 4 first-level venerables were injured and retreated. Their eyes were filled with fear, and they did not dare to continue fighting. The first place of the freshmen this time is mine. Zhou Su's eyes shone brightly. He was full of confidence. Whoosh! In the distance, a shocking saber light lit up and split a beast in half. Xiao Li's expression was cold as he rushed toward the mountain peak. Lin Xian, I look forward to fighting with you. On the other side, Dongfang Feng Huang, Lan Bai, Xin Yao Tian, and the others were charging with all their might. The mountain peak was very tall and dangerous. After climbing the mountain path, Lin Xian realized that he could not fly because it was too dangerous. Therefore, he and Murong Qingqing chose to go on the ground. In the forest, a pair of sharp claws appeared and grabbed at the 2 of them. The sword light flashed and destroyed the claws. At this moment, dozens of dark green vines quietly approached Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing like poisonous snakes, waiting for the right time. Whoosh! Suddenly, the vines burst out and quickly wrapped around Lin Xian. The vines had poisonous thorns that could easily kill an honorable martial artist. In an instant, Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing were entangled and quickly pulled backward. Gulp! 2 huge brown petals suddenly opened like 2 terrifying mouths with sharp saw teeth on them. They bit toward the 2 of them. Humph! Lin Xian snorted. The armor on his body flashed and shattered the vines. At the same time, he threw a punch. Terrifying flames intertwined and formed a fire beast that burned the man-eating, demonic flower. On the other side, a crystal lotus appeared on Murong Qingqing's body. It was very dreamy and cut the other party in an instant. Then, the 9-petaled lotus danced in the air and formed a terrifying rotating force that shredded all the plants within 100 meters. What a terrifying woman! Lin Xian wiped the sweat off his face and quickly walked up. We're almost halfway there. Most of the beasts here are at the demon general level, Lin Xian said in a low voice. I wonder what terrifying things there will be at the top. I have a feeling that Elder Hua's reminder is hinting at something, Murong Qingqing said. Chapter 754. Murong Qingqing was a little worried about Elder Hua's warning. Lin Xian nodded as well. Let's be careful. There might be some powerful beasts up there. The 2 of them were on high alert as they headed up the mountain. Their journey was smooth. Are we worrying too much? Lin Xian shook his head and smiled. Maybe. Murong Qingqing furrowed his brows. However, in the next moment, an earth-shattering roar came from afar. It turned into rolling thunder and shook the surroundings. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye quickly spread out in all directions. Wherever the ripples passed, rocks and trees would be destroyed. This is Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng were shocked as they looked up in disbelief. They were just starting to doubt Elder Hua's warning when something happened. Help! Countless screams could be heard as many martial artists escaped from above. Their faces were filled with shock. Boom, boom, boom. The ground trembled as rows of trees fell. A huge black shadow walked in the forest with a terrifying aura. Below, countless martial artists were fleeing in a sorry state. Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng also retreated to a safe place and looked up. In the forest above, 100-meter-tall giant ape walked upright. Its body was covered in fur, and there was a vertical eye in the middle of its head. There were 8 arms on both sides of its body that were constantly waving. Every time it waved, it would bring about a shocking aura. Bang! The 8 arms waved and sent the martial artists in front flying. It even created a vacuum in the forest. This is Lin Xian was shocked. The 8-armed demon ape. It was ranked 197th on the Earth board. Morong Qingcheng said in a deep voice, "No wonder Elder Hua warned us. There is a hidden Earth board demonic beast here." Lin Xian's face darkened. An adult 8-armed demon ape was extremely powerful. It was probably at least a 5th-layer martial honor. Fortunately, the 8-armed demon ape in front of them did not have a member. It was only in its infancy, and its strength was equivalent to a 3rd-layer martial honor. Although it could not fight back, it could still escape. Boom! The 8-armed demon ape waved its arms, and they were like 8 heavenly pillars that shot out in all directions. One of the palms just so happened to be aimed at Lin Xian and Li Qia. Everything near the palm was shattered, and a powerful aura enveloped Lin Xian and Morong Qingcheng as if it was going to crush them. As expected of a demonic beast ranked on the Earth rankings, it's already so strong in its infancy. Lin Xian could feel the pressure. Lin Xian's expression changed slightly. He took a step back and retreated. Before the palm arrived, the terrifying palm wind had already destroyed everything in the vicinity. Morong Qingcheng retreated as well. As soon as the 2 of them left, the Vajra palm slammed down and cracked the ground. A bottomless black hole appeared in the center. The strength of the 8-armed demonic ape shocked everyone. Those freshmen who wanted to go over were all blasted down. Many people looked forward with ugly expressions. The road up the mountain had been blocked, so they could only break through. However, when faced with this terrifying 8-armed demon ape, no one had any information. Let's go to the sky. Many people looked at the sky and had a new idea. Suddenly, someone gave it a try. His body flashed, and he turned into a shocking rainbow and rushed into the sky. The 8-armed demon ape was only 100 meters tall. They just had to cross this line of defense. Many people had the same idea, but in the next moment, their expressions changed again. This was because a huge black shadow had appeared in the sky. It was like a dark cloud that covered the sky. Within the dark cloud, there was a pair of scarlet rays of light. They were like 2 suns hanging in the sky. Accompanying them was a terrifying aura. The aura was even stronger than the 8-armed demon apes. This is a demonic beast. Everyone was shocked, and the martial artists in the sky ran for their lives. Boom! A gray aura gushed out and filled the sky, surrounding the few people in the sky. One of them threw out a middle-grade spiritual rank shield, and it turned into a 10-meter defensive barrier in the sky. However, it was corroded by the gray mist in an instant. Chi-chi! A black hole appeared in the middle of the shield and gradually expanded. In the end, the entire shield turned into a pool of molten iron. What? How can this be? Countless people were shocked. The gray mist was too terrifying. Even a middle-grade spiritual rank artifact could not withstand it. At this moment, no one dared to think about escaping in the sky. Roar. The few people in the sky ran away, but the 8-armed demon ape on the mountain road roared angrily. It waved its 8 arms and roared towards the sky. Roar. In the sky, the demonic beast in the shape of a black cloud roared as well. It let out a low roar, and its aura was boiling. The confrontation between the 2 powerful demonic beasts made the atmosphere tense to the extreme. The hearts of many of the freshmen were also in their mouths as they watched nervously. It was not impossible to let the 2 demonic beasts fight. This way, they would have a chance to escape. Lin Xian thought in his heart. In the next moment, he had an idea. After reminding Murong Qingcheng in a low voice, Lin Xian activated the great dragon sword soul. He controlled the spiritual qi between heaven and earth and condensed an arm near the 8-armed demon ape. It looked almost the same as the 8-armed demon ape's arm. At the same time, he used the concept of wind, causing a violent wind to blow in the sky. Their vision became dark. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lin Xian used the arm condensed from spiritual qi to grab a small mountain and threw it into the sky. Boom. Chapter 755. Roars could be heard from time to time in the dense forest, and countless flashes of light could be seen. Along with them were terrifying energy waves. With the appearance of the Earth leaderboard monsters, the freshman assessment was divided into 2 groups. The weaker martial artists could not pass at all, while the stronger martial artists could only run all the way to the mountain peak. Above the clouds, the elders of Senma College were watching the scene below. Interesting. These little guys are stronger than we expected, the sage-like elder said with a smile. Elder Huan narrowed his eyes. Humph, I think they should know my warning by now. But there are still surprises waiting for us. The group of people looked at the mountain range below and kept talking. In the mountain range below, Lin Xian used his Earth rank status and increased his speed to the maximum. He quickly avoided the monster's attacks and left with Murong Qingcheng. Gradually, they approached the mountain peak. However, the environment there was even more dangerous. Almost all the monsters were demon generals. Fortunately, Lin Xian and Murong Qingcheng had extraordinary skills. Otherwise, they would not have been able to deal with them. Whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the air was heard. A terrifying and sharp force pierced toward Lin Xian's back. Clang! Murong Qingcheng waved his hand and cast a lotus flower to block the attack. Then the 2 of them looked behind them cautiously. There was a monster there. Its body was covered in scales, and there was a sharp spike on its head that flickered with a cold light. Around it, there was a flash of light. It was like a rapidly dancing light, flickering and flickering. The monster stared at Lin Xian and Murong Qingcheng. The light on its body flickered even more intensely. Finally, it gradually became translucent and rushed toward them. What is that? Lin Xian was shocked. He had never seen such a monster before. The floating light beast was good at hiding and assassinating. It was very difficult to deal with. Murong Qingcheng said in a low voice. As he spoke, the floating light beast had already rushed up. Its figure flashed and disappeared in the air. Buzz! Lin Xian frowned and quickly moved to the side. Poof! In the next moment, a sharp spike appeared where he was originally standing, piercing through the void. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. This attack was truly strange. Fortunately, his soul force was outstanding, and he was able to sense it in advance. Otherwise, if it were someone else, they would have already been injured. However, even though the floating light beast was strange, it was still not enough to injure it. The sword qi in his body surged, forming a sword qi field with a diameter of 10 meters around Lin Xian, spinning rapidly. Streaks of sword qi were as fast as lightning as they intertwined with one another. seemingly capable of destroying everything. With this sword chi domain, Lin Xian was not afraid of the floating light beast's sudden attack. On the other side, Murong Qingcheng was surrounded by 9-petaled lotuses, forming a screen of light that was equally powerful. Clang, clang, the floating light beast's attacks were all blocked by the two of them. Damn, you're addicted? Lin Xian was a little angry when he saw that the floating light beast refused to give up. Then he pulled out the wind shadow sword and swung it. Red storm. Countless sword chi surged, forming a huge and terrifying storm that swept out in all directions. The terrifying sword chi swept out, destroying everything. Roar, puff, puff. No matter how strange the floating light beast was, it was only a 1-star demon general. In terms of attack power, it was no match for Lin Xian. Therefore, when it was surrounded by the sword chi, it was quickly pierced through. Gulp! Its illusory body appeared, and it fell to the ground with countless light swords stabbed into it. Humph! Lin Xian withdrew his long sword and snorted coldly. At this moment, Murong Qingcheng's expression changed slightly. She quickly reminded Lin Xian. Lin Xian turned his head and saw the void ripple beside him, and a few more figures appeared. There were 4 floating light beasts. 3 of them were 1-star demon generals, and the larger one in the middle was a 2-star demon general. With such a lineup and that strange attack, it was really terrifying. When Lin Xian saw this, he pursed his lips and muttered, "There's more?" Murong Qingcheng sighed. "Let's go. Our target is not them, but the mountaintop." And Lin Xian nodded. He could use his trump card to kill these floating light beasts, but this was not a hunting competition. It was a competition of speed and time. Therefore, the two of them looked at each other and quickly left. Their figures flashed and disappeared like 2 rainbows. Roar! When the 4 floating light beasts saw Lin Xian and Murong Qingcheng escaping, they roared angrily. Their bodies turned transparent, and they quickly chased after them. Fortunately, the two of them had exquisite movement techniques and managed to shake off the floating light beasts. In the end, the two of them finally left the belly of the mountain and arrived at the mountaintop. Seeing the mountaintop in front of them, the two of them heaved a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment, an earth-shattering roar came from behind them, followed by several powerful auras. Lin Xian and Murong Qingcheng turned around and saw Xiao Li Lanbai, Dongfang Fenghuang, and the others rushing out of the forest. Behind them were several powerful demon generals. It seemed that they had all been attacked by the demon generals. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Soon, he frowned again because the demon generals behind them did not stop attacking. Instead, they continued to chase after them. In this way, Lin Xian and Murong Qingcheng would also be surrounded. When Dongfang Fenghuang saw Lin Xian, her face lit up. She revealed a sly smile and flew directly toward them. Damn it, that crazy woman. Lin Xian's scalp went numb, and he quickly left. It was no joke to be surrounded by so many demon generals. These prodigies did not fight head-on. Instead, they chose to retreat and set off toward the mountaintop. Rays of light lit up like countless shooting stars across the sky. Finally, the group arrived at the mountaintop, but they did not see the golden bell. It seemed that they still had to look for it. Buzz. Lin Xian looked around, trying to find the golden bell. Suddenly, an ear-piercing demonic sound came from behind, accompanied by a terrifying force that pierced toward him. "Be careful," Murong Qingcheng shouted. Lin Xian's heart sank. He quickly turned around, drew the wind shadow sword, and swept it out. Boom! The terrifying attack from behind collided with the wind shadow sword, creating a terrifying sound of impact. It was as if 100,000 mountains had crashed into him. The force made Lin Xian's expression change. He snorted coldly, and an even more powerful spiritual force erupted from his body. At the same time, his body fluttered and dissipated the force. With 9 transformations, Lin Xian dissipated the terrifying force and landed lightly on the ground like a feather. Then he stared coldly in front of him like a sword. "If you want to die, I can fulfill your wish." Lin Xian's voice was cold. His opponent was too vicious. Not only did he launch a sneak attack, but he also wanted to knock him off the mountaintop. He stared at Zhou Su, and a murderous aura gathered in his eyes. It was fierce and terrifying. "Want to die? Let's see if you have the right to do so." Zhou Su sneered. His body swayed, and he stepped on Lin Xian's head. A powerful force fell from the sky and enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian punched out. His golden fist carried the light of lightning, and it rushed into the sky like an angry dragon. The two collided, and a terrifying force exploded, causing the ground to crack. "Not good, he's crazy." The surrounding martial artists' expressions changed drastically. They left the cliff and ran toward the center. Chapter 756. The violent tremors caused many martial artists to run towards the center of the mountain. Only there could they safely avoid the attacks of the demonic beasts. However, Lin Xian did not retreat. He punched towards the sky to confront Zhou Su. Boom! Terrifying energy surged. The two exchanged a few blows and then distanced themselves. Neither of them left. Instead, they faced each other. At this moment, the demon generals in the distance also caught up. 3 huge creatures surrounded Lin Xian and Zhou Su. Zhou Su did not care about being surrounded by the demon generals. He stared at Lin Xian with a sinister smile. "Today, I will let you know my power." Lin Xian's eyes were cold. Sword chi surged on his body as he prepared to attack with all his might. However, at this moment, the Crimson Dragon suddenly said, "Kid, hurry up and leave. There is a big guy below. You can't handle it." Hearing this, Lin Xian was shocked. The Crimson Dragon was an old monster. For it to issue a warning at this time, it was enough to show how dangerous the situation was. Without any hesitation, Lin Xian rushed into the sky and flew into the distance. Roar, roar, roar. Lin Xian dodged all the attacks of the 3 demon generals. "Ha ha! How dare you run away without a fight?" Zhou Su laughed disdainfully. Boom! Before his voice could fade away, the ground beside him suddenly split open. A gigantic tail swept out and killed a demonic general. "What?" Zhou Su's expression changed. He did not expect such a shocking change. That was a 2-star demon general. How could it be killed just like that? What kind of monster is below? At this moment, he could no longer care about mocking Lin Xian. He also fled quickly. Boom, boom, boom. The black tail swept across like a sharp, heavenly blade and instantly killed the 3 demon generals. Then, the entire ground began to tremble as if a peerless demon was about to appear. Demonic chi condensed together like smoke and rushed into the sky. The ground cracked open and another black tail, accompanied by a smoky demonic chi, rushed out of the ground. Boom! The tails danced and slapped the ground nearby, as if they were about to shatter the entire mountain. Lin Xian and the others had ugly expressions on their faces as they watched this scene nervously. They didn't think that there would be such a terrifying thing at the top of the mountain that could easily kill a 2-star demon general. This was not something they could contend against. Whoosh! In the next moment, a tail as thick as a mountain pressed down on the crowd. "Disperse!" It was unknown who shouted, but the people in the center immediately scattered. Boom! The black tail fell, bringing with it a thick demonic aura. It smashed the ground. An endless demonic aura spread out in all directions. even more black tails appeared, a total of 9, dancing in the sky, incomparably terrifying. Above the tail, the demonic aura condensed into large black hands that grabbed at the crowd. One of them was aiming for Lin Xian. Whoa! A shocking sword radiance lit up. The sword radiance was like a long rainbow, as it instantly slashed at the black, demonic aura hand. As the sword chi collided with the palm trembled slightly, and cracks began to appear on its surface. However, in the next instant, boundless demonic chi wrapped around it, and the palm was completely unharmed. Let's go! Lin Xian's pupils constricted. His previous attack was enough to kill a 2-star demon general, but against this monster, it didn't cause any damage. This was simply too inconceivable. Therefore, he didn't fight it head-on. Instead, he met up with Morong Qingcheng. "Are you all right?" Morong Qingcheng asked with concern. "I'm fine." Lin Xian shook his head. "Let's go find the golden bell first." Morong Qingcheng nodded. "This isn't the real top of the mountain. I don't think the golden bell is here." Indeed, Lin Xian and the others were already at the top of the mountain, but it wasn't the highest place. The highest place was the mountain in the distance. That was the highest peak of the mountain. Not only Lin Xian, but the others also thought of this point. Therefore, many of them quickly moved and ran toward the highest peak. Boom! The palm formed by the black, demonic aura slammed down, blocking everyone's path. It seemed that this mountain was not easy to reach. Everyone was anxious. The mountain peak was right in front of them. Whoever could reach it first would be the champion of this conference. Not only could they obtain 1,000,000 spiritual value points, but they could also obtain a chance to comprehend the Kingstone statue. This kind of opportunity was very rare. It might only come once in a lifetime. Therefore, no one wanted to give up. "We can only give it a try." Lin Xian took a deep breath. His gaze gradually focused, and his body emitted a sharp aura. Morong Qingcheng, Zhou Su, Dongfang Feng Huang, and the others also used their full strength preparing to attack. These people were powerful. They could be said to be the peak of the freshmen. Perhaps only they could break through. In the sky, the elders of Senma College were paying close attention to everything. Some of the other mountains and Senma College's senior students were also paying attention. After all, the strength of the freshmen was also related to their future. If a powerful freshman appeared, they would either subdue him or become one of them. If that didn't work, then they could only suppress him. After all, no one would ignore a threat. Lin Xian and the others stood out from the crowd and flew toward the highest mountain peak. The terrifying demon beast underground seemed to have noticed this as well. The palm formed from demon chi attacked together with the black tail. Not only that, but there was also a low roar coming from the ground, as if a peerless demon had awakened. The sound was low and contained terrifying energy. It caused the surrounding mountains to collapse and turn into powder. Then the ground cracked open. Countless demon chi condensed and formed a huge black waterfall. It hung upside down from the sky and blocked Lin Xian and the others' path. The demon chi surged like a black demon wall. It stood in front of them and connected the heavens and the earth. Lin Xian and the others' faces were gloomy as they stopped. They were not the only ones. Even the senior students who were watching gasped. They did not expect such a terrifying demon beast to appear. Judging from its aura, it's at least a 3-star demon general, not to mention these freshmen. Even those on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard might not be able to fight against it. Many people shook their heads and could only mourn for the freshmen. Above the black demon wall, the demon chi surged and formed countless black tentacles again. They grabbed at Lin Xian and the others. The tentacles turned into ferocious heads and let out ear-piercing screams. Lin Xian and the others' faces were ugly. The situation had gone beyond their control. The power was too terrifying. They would be injured if they touched it. However, if they could not pass through it, they would not be able to reach the peak, let alone ring the golden bell. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to risk it all. His expression was solemn, and his eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Sharp sword chi surged out of his body as if it was going to pierce through the heavens. He stomped his foot and turned into a light sword, charging out quickly. What? Is this kid crazy? Zhou Su and the others were not the only ones who were shocked. The senior students were also shocked. Charging out at this time was no different from courting death. Above the clouds, Elder Hua and the sage-like elder nodded slightly when they saw this. Kid, you're quite brave, the sage-like elder said with a smile. Not bad, but I wonder how strong you are. Elder Hua narrowed his eyes. Chapter 757. Lin Xian turned into a sword aura and rushed towards the demonic wall in front of him. This action made everyone exclaim. At the same time, they shook their heads and lamented that Lin Xian was too stupid. Zhou Su snorted coldly, with disdain in his eyes. In his opinion, Lin Xian was courting death. Boom! The sword, aura soared into the sky, and turned into the shape of a dragon. It roared ferociously and plunged into the demonic wall. The demonic aura shook violently. Then it began to calm down as if nothing had happened. Everyone was puzzled. They did not know what this meant. Did Lin Xian pass or not? Murong Qingqing's expression changed slightly. 9 lotus flowers surrounded her like a fairy. She stepped on the lotus platform and flew out as well. When the others saw this, they were silent for a moment, then gritted their teeth and followed behind. When Zhou Su saw this, he snorted coldly and turned into a sword aura. He would not let these people succeed, especially Lin Xian, because the first place was his. The sword aura flashed, and an ancient giant sword appeared in the air. It was 100 meters long and quickly slashed forward. Dongfang Fenghuang's palm danced, and a strong spiritual force surged out, condensing into a flaming phoenix. It screeched to the sky and plunged into the demonic wall. Murong Qingqing stepped on the lotus platform, her white robe fluttering. She controlled the 9-petal lotus to form a blade and slashed down. These people all used their methods, entering the demonic wall, wanting to break out of the encirclement. Everyone looked up to see if these new geniuses could successfully break through. In particular, the people from Dragon Sword Pavilion, who arrived later, clenched their fists and prayed in their hearts. On the entire mountain top, there were only the low roars of peerless demonic beasts and the whistling of demonic tails. The others watched in silence. The silence lasted for a while before it was broken. That was because the tall demonic wall had changed again. Demonic aura surged, and a black vortex appeared on the other side of the demonic wall. It spun faster and faster, as if something was about to come out. Poof! Buzz! In the next moment, a sword aura soared into the sky and flew out of the demonic wall towards the highest mountain. It's out! It's really out! Everyone exclaimed. It's a sword aura. Could it be Zhou Su? No, it's Lin Xian. Everyone looked carefully and discovered that the first person to come out was Lin Xian. Originally, everyone thought that it would be the powerful Zhou Su, but they didn't expect that the first to come out would be Lin Xian. Soon, the demonic wall rolled, and another figure flew out. This time, it was Murong Qingqing, whose white robes were whiter than snow, like an otherworldly fairy. He stepped on a 5-colored lotus platform and floated towards the peak of the mountain. Soon, she was standing shoulder to shoulder with Lin Xian. Puff, puff, the demonic wall behind him surged, and those figures all came out, flying towards the mountain peak. Dongfang Feng Huang was clad in a fiery red armor that accentuated her exquisite figure. She was like a goddess of fire, causing people to gasp in admiration. Xiao Li's saber aura soared into the sky, and a terrifying crack appeared on the demonic wall. Zhou Su's expression was ice cold. The sword energy on his body soared into the sky. A huge sword of light condensed under his feet, as if a sword god had appeared. These people used their methods to rush out of the demonic wall. They all landed on the peak of the mountain. Behind them, the demonic aura rolled and condensed again, but it didn't chase after them. Instead, it stood there. After Lin Xian and the others arrived, some people in the crowd tried to break through and succeeded. Among them were Shen Yaotian, Lan Bai, and the others. A total of 7 people stood on the peak of the mountain, looking at each other with hostility. Below, everyone held their breaths. They knew that the number 1 new student would emerge from these people. I didn't expect 7 people to be able to break through the demonic wall. This year's new students are really interesting. Elder Hua was very surprised. In the distance, the senior students who were watching the battle also looked solemn. The strength of these new students was beyond their expectations. It seemed that this year's new students were even more terrifying than they had imagined. On the peak of the mountain, the 7 figures stood in 4 different directions, maintaining a certain distance from each other. The 7 of them were able to come here, which was enough to prove their strength. However, only one person could be number 1, and only one person could comprehend the King's Stone statue. Therefore, they had to use all their strength to defeat the other 6. Among them, Murong Qingcheng and Lin Xian stood together, which was considered an alliance. The others stood alone and didn't intend to form an alliance. After all, at this time, they were all worried and didn't dare to form an alliance with others. However, Lin Xian and Murong Qingcheng, who had formed an alliance, became the target of everyone's attention. 5 pairs of eyes looked at the 2 of them with a trace of vigilance. Everyone, I think we have to get rid of someone first. Otherwise, the 2 of them forming an alliance will be too big a threat to us. Zhou Su smiled evilly and stared at Lin Xian. After hearing this, the others frowned even more. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He stared at Zhou Su, and suddenly his body swayed and rushed out quickly. This attack was very sudden. In an instant, Lin Xian was in front of Zhou Su, and the wind shadow sword in his hand slashed down quickly. The sword light was like a sudden clap of thunder, extremely powerful. Boom! Zhou Su also unsheathed his sword. The simple blue longsword turned into a stream of light and met the attack. The sword chi circled around and collided continuously, forming rays of light that shook continuously. Both of them were experts in the sword, and at this moment, they were evenly matched. Boom, 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 boom. In an instant, the 2 long swords clashed more than 100 times. The terrifying sound of metal clashing shook the surroundings, and a large amount of sword chi flew in all directions. The surrounding mountains and rocks were shattered, and the ground was filled with countless sword holes. Kid, today I'll show you what a real expert in the way of the sword is. Zhou Su laughed wildly. You don't have the right to say that. Lin Xian counterattacked with his sword and rushed forward again. Bang! Zhou Su slashed down with his blue longsword. The brilliant sword light was like a vast ocean, and like the vast stars, it enveloped Lin Xian. His first attack was a consummate skill, sea of stars connecting heaven. Boom, boom, boom. This attack forced Lin Xian to retreat. Ha ha ha, you're really pitifully weak. Zhou Su laughed. Do you want to call your companions and attack together? It's not so troublesome to deal with you. Lin Xian was forced to retreat, but he was not angry. On the contrary, his expression was calm, but the aura on his body was even more fierce. Humph, then you won't have a chance. Zhou Su sneered. Guys, I'll hold this kid back. You can go and ring the golden bell. Hearing this, the others frowned. I don't like to take advantage of others. Go ahead and fight. If you lose, I'll defeat Lin Xian. If you win, I'll defeat you. I'll ring the golden bell after I've defeated everyone, Xiao Li said coldly. His eyes were full of fighting spirit. To him, it was not important whether he rang the bell or not. Defeating everyone was the most important thing. The eyes of Shen Yaotian and the rest flickered as they looked at the golden bell in the distance. Hee, if you don't want it, then I'll take it. A fiery red figure dashed out and flew into the distance. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.